Pepperoncini. And now the Pepperoncini Show with Darren Atkins and Ken Strode. All right, take it, fellas.
There it is. That's the open.
Pepperoncini.
Pepperoncini. Pepperoncini. Pepperoncini. Pepperoncini. Pepperoncini. Pepperoncini. Pepperoncini.
We don't know what it is. We don't understand the name. We just know it's stupid. And it's available every weekday, featuring Iggy and the Plowboy. Apparently it's some kind of a podcast or something. Available at tmastl.com and on the TMASTL mobile app. Whatever.
Do you want to support the EDF Group as a sponsor of TMA? Well, it's real simple. Do you have a fire extinguisher where you work? The answer is yes, you certainly do. So, please email the EDF Group at fire@theedfgroup.com so a technician can come out and explain to your team how the EDF Group can save your company money. Again, that email address is fire@theedfgroup.com. The EDF Group is hot and will prevent your facility from having hot fires. Experience the EDF Group difference. Learn more at theedfgroup.com.
Hey, this is Joe Buck. We all have people we miss and who we would do anything to see or hear again. Whenever I want to hear my dad's voice, all I have to do is go to YouTube, but most people don't have that luxury. Now with Sound Story, your family's stories can be saved forever. Sound Story is a professionally produced hour-long conversation in which you or one of your loved ones is interviewed by the host of your choice, including TMA's own Tim McKernan, Doug Vaughn, and Jackson Burkett. Hundreds of St. Louisans have already told their stories with Sound Story, and the experience is one they loved.
I think everybody that can do it, they should, for their children, for their grandchildren, because I know I would give anything to hear my parents' voice.
Visit mysoundstory.com today and use promo code TMA for 10% off your Sound Story gift certificate purchase. That's mysoundstory.com, promo code TMA for 10% off your Sound Story gift certificate purchase. Sound Story, for you, for them, forever.
I'm Tim McKernan here with Action Jackson talking to you about Mark Hanna. TMA listeners have a lot to think through financially, whether it be saving up for their child's education or planning for their own retirement and everything in between.
Whether you're like me and just getting started with your financial planning or you're already retired, call Mark Hanna.
It all starts with a 15-minute phone call to discuss your needs and design the right strategy for you and your future.
Visit evergreenstl.com or give Mark a call at 314-889-0503 today. Mark Hanna offers securities through Equitable Advisors and insurance and annuity products through Equitable Network, LLC.
TMA presents their second ever trivia night, November 11th at Tim's alma mater, St. Gabe's, starting at 7:30 p.m. A little different than last year. Not just TMA trivia, all trivia, sports, entertainment, STL-centric, and a few rounds of TMA trivia thrown in for good measure. And it's hosted by Tim, Doug, Iggy, Plowsy, Action Jackson, and whoever else is on the show. You can purchase single tickets, tables of 8, or anything in between. Tickets are on sale now and are $45 a person. A portion of the proceeds from the event will go to St. Gabe's. Tickets include food from Salt and Smoke and all your Anheuser-Busch beer. But feel free to bring your own food and drink too. Another TMA Trivia Night, November 11th. Get more info and find out how to buy tickets at tmastl.com.
Rosalitas know that a fun happy hour and scenic patio go together like fresh guac and chips. So take advantage of their covered patio this fall and winter at their De Pere location and enjoy happy hour specials Monday through Friday from 3 to 6. Their sparkling margarita is made with Chambord raspberry liqueur and topped with a bottle of rosé Prosecco. They also have a variety of delicious margarita flavors, including mango, pomegranate, and blood orange, all made with top-shelf tequila and Cointreau. With phenomenal service, great margaritas, and a breathtaking atmosphere, there's always a reason to come to Rosalitas.
Live from the Michelob Ultra Studios, KPNT-FM HD2, Collinsville, St. Louis. This is TMA All Day. Rise and shine, St. Louis. It's the morning after on KPNT-FM HD2, Collinsville, St. Louis. At the morning after STL on YouTube and on TMASTL.com with Tim McKernan, Doug Vaughn, Iggy Strode, The Plowboy, and Action Jackson.
7:07 in St. Louis, you are listening to TMA for the Michelob Ultra Studios. Timothy Michael McKernan, Douglas Elvin Vaughn, Kenneth Iggy Strode, the Plowhawk, and Action Jackson with you on the program. Come on in, friends. It is the Munganess St. Louis Acura Alton Toyota 7 o'clock hour on October 30th, 2023. And on this program, we solicit your involvement by texting into the EDF Group text inbox 314-881-TMA5, by calling in 636-9004 TMA, and by emailing in the morning after at InsideSTL.com. Brought to you by the wonderful people at Design Air Heating and Cooling. It is the Design Air Heating and Cooling email of the day, and down the stretch we come, Doug, with Buck Swope holding a 1-goal lead on the JV golf coach. JV golf coach is going to have to go back-to-back to try and take this title away from Buck Swope. Yeah, I think he's got the ability. Coming up at 7:45 on the program, new title sponsor. And
exciting news.
Exciting news. Now, this is the deal has been done. Oh, Doug, what would you say? 2-3 weeks? 2-3 weeks?
Something like that.
You like that 2-3 weeks?
2-3 weeks, yeah. Couple 3.
Well, I like that better. Couple 3 weeks. But the announcement, now that this is the start of the November broadcast month, did you know that? Did you know your broadcast months?
No.
Anyway,
why would November start in October?
Hell, I don't know. I just know the broadcast calendar.
Weekdays.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that will begin today, and we will allow the audience to play Guess the Title Sponsor coming up at 7:45.
I'll be darned.
Kind of like a 20 questions.
I enjoy guessing games.
And then the title sponsor will reveal themselves.
Oh, great.
Coming up at 7:45. At 9 o'clock, the Colonel will reveal himself as he gets ready to go between the hedges on Saturday. Doug, welcome to Gotcha Week.
All right. He's not the title sponsor, Gabe.
Blew that.
Oh.
It's not the only thing.
Okay, so it is possible that he is.
I saw Kirby Smart giving high praise to drink.
Oh, he's in Lou Holtz mode?
I think he's... Don't buy into any of that, Doug. Kirby's really laying it thick on how much he loves Missouri's offense.
What did he say?
Nobody playing better than Brady Cook. That's a scary little nugget to put in a team's head.
Nice.
Well,
the number's down to 16, I saw. We were sitting here before the show BSing about it. It opened at 17.5, down to 16. We'll talk that over with the Colonel, brought to you by James Carlton of the Carlton State Farm Insurance Agency at 9 o'clock. Design Air Heating and Cooling. Email the day, 9:45. But Doug, the doggies.
I did not stay up to watch it. A little late. And it did not go well.
9 o'clock is what the people were told, but much like the Stanley Cup playoffs, but yet a little different than the Stanley Cup playoffs, whereas you can go, okay, the Blues and Wild will start at 8:30, and we go, 8:47. Okay. You add on 17 minutes. I guess the formula with MLS is add 25 minutes. So it was 9:10. Each of the last 2 days, my son had skates early in the morning. I was up at 5:30 for a skate yesterday. And Doug, I'm on him. And I already cut up these pills and just like, oh, God, I gotta go to bed.
Oh, my goodness.
Shooters.
Yeah, just a little quick hit. And my wife comes in bed, and obviously she wants it because look at me.
Yeah.
And I go, MLS playoffs, can't do it.
Waved her off.
She in her Berkey jersey.
I hear the buzzing start.
Just lay there like I do and just say, do what you want. I'm just going to lay here.
Gosh.
And then the little clock comes up. They're analyzing the game, and it's 9:10. There's like 16 minutes till the game gets underway. That'll do it. I'll catch her in the morning.
Yeah.
Just like the Blues and like the Plowhawk with the Winnipeg Jets in the first round back in 2019. I go, I'll catch her in the morning. So I don't look at my phone, come downstairs, 5 a.m., can't wait to watch and see what's doing. And holy moly, cockatoli, Doug. Sporting Kansas City, arch rival, came in, and they did some shipping last night.
They took our measure
4-1 your final.
I didn't miss it because I was hopped up on drugs or anything. I missed it because I was in bed, and as soon as I put on that damn CPAP equipment, I get...
We get that Darth Vader vibe, huh?
And I'm asleep in 15 seconds. I mean, just out.
Is that right? That's great.
Oh, yeah. I can't hear anything else going on in the world. Except
nice.
that.
Ambient noise helps so much. We have a sound machine at night.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, whirring noise.
Does it put you right to sleep?
In 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Austin
still gets on end. A huge giveaway in deep side. Jared Stroud.
That had to have been from earlier in the season because there was one goal, and it was Tim Parker. Doug, 4-1. Only one.
Did they at least have a packed house? Did everybody stay there? Was it?
Oh, sure, looked like it.
It looked like it was pouring down rain. I remember taking my dogs out before bed. which is a half hour before game time, and it was pouring. And I look at the videos on Twitter, and there are mass amounts of crowd chanting. I mean, they represent the crowd. I mean,
it had to be the worst.
Outcome wasn't there,
the worst night for outdoor sports in St. Louis.
Couldn't imagine a worse one
in American history.
Well, yes, probably in American history.
I don't know about that.
Is that a soccer rule or a city St. Louis rule that there's no umbrellas allowed?
I was wondering the same thing, but I don't know if it's like.
Yeah, I heard there were no umbrellas allowed in the stadium.
I didn't know that. Wow.
And probably a lightning issue, wouldn't you think?
Probably the guy behind you can't see a darn thing issue.
I feel like it would be lightning. I don't know
Lightning's
if
not
there was,
gonna
but
hit the
If it was lightning, they wouldn't be playing.
yeah, true.
lightning would hit the top of the stadium before it would hit your umbrella.
Speaking of CPAP machines, we're working on a kit that can convert a CPAP into a mobile Sybian so you can breathe better before injecting lust into that prostate.
Oh,
Imagine that.
That's from Deke Dotem, getting
I'm not
things going.
interested.
Imagine
For
that.
Georgia week.
You can get the musk from an all-day Sybian with your
All-day
nighttime because you're using the same mask. You don't clean it.
Guys, people are trying to sell their tickets right and left on Facebook. That's from the Hunchback of Long Castle. Is that accurate? Did anybody go?
I didn't know. I did see a lot of that online. I got extra tickets tonight.
I
Wow.
don't blame them.
If you got kids, it's too late on a Sunday night.
I
You get
watched-
home at midnight or later.
I got to watch it because it was on Fox Sports 1. So I said, my first game of the year. And 4 minutes in, I saw the ball kick back to the goaltender 8 times. I said, see, I'm going to bed.
Oh, no. It's a playoff.
No.
I didn't watch any of it.
I was tired anyway, but
I mean, you know that many City fans woke up this morning not feeling good about the performance of the Dogs, and now you're poking them is what you're doing. You're poking them, and they're
well, that's just what I
vulnerable.
watched. I mean, let's kick it to center. Is anybody open? No, let's kick it back to the defender. Let's kick it back to the goaltender. Let's kick the defender. Let's kick it to the center. Let's make a pass. Let's back to the goaltender. God almighty.
Just like everything, it's Tim's fault the Dogs game started so late. But seriously, that umbrella thing is a rule at Cardinals games too, right? Thanks, Mr. Tim. I love you, Doug. That's from Colts columnist Brian Henson. Tough loss yesterday against the Saints. Looked like they were in control.
Yeah.
And then New Orleans came back and took their measure. Am I correct on that? Has anybody seen?
I believe that's correct, yeah.
Is it Taysom Hill again?
Yeah, Kamara had a good game.
Yeah, you're right. Look at that. Was
is
he on
it-
your team or something?
No, I lost. I can cash by 6 points, and my quarterback got me 9 points.
How much money you lose?
I put in 5 for $1 million, $100,000 of the winner. But my quarterback didn't do anything.
Who's your quarterback, boy?
Baltimore's quarterback.
Yeah,
Johnny Unitas?
correct, Johnny Unitas.
Yeah, he usually runs those balls from the one, but I want to hand it off and give somebody else a touchdown today because Iggy's got me.
Now, people are guessing the title sponsor, Doug. Somebody said the Bailey's morning after. It is not Bailey's.
No.
Somebody said the Marshall Wireless morning after.
Yeah.
That actually would be like, what would have to be the price
God
in order for
almighty.
that to happen? Like, they would have to go above and beyond.
Do they really have an umbrella ban at Busch Stadium for Cardinal games?
Somebody said on the text line for poking people and obstructing views.
I wouldn't doubt that they do. I just never really.
But they allow people that are 6'7", 6'8" in. I mean, talk about a complete obstruction of your view
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, only let us smalls in. I like
Not
that.
much you can do about someone who's tall.
It was as packed last night as any other game, and they're not happy. That's
Oh.
from the 314. Iggy, you poked them, and they're not going to like it.
What? I didn't say anything. I didn't say that they they weren't going to go to the game.
Yeah.
Is the title sponsor Chuck's Boots? It's from Hunchback of Uncast.
Do they allow
Again, what would
Brock?
have to be the offer?
Do they allow Brock umbrellas in there?
I don't think so.
Do you see anybody wearing a Brock umbrella?
Well, that would be a dedicated, intense fan base if they were all there again on a cold, rainy, late Sunday night.
What I saw in terms of pregame, now again, I didn't watch the game. A lot of videos were coming out in the pregame. It looked packed and got all hell. I mean, it looked super packed.
Yeah, that's good.
So
The
good
Blue
for
Chew
them to
morning
come out.
after.
The what?
Blue Chew?
Oh.
TMA presented by Lisa Ann's Wine. That's from the 215.
Yeah.
I do believe in charity.
The Dr. Biondo morning after. Fuelsy. I think they're getting warmer.
They had smoke shows at Biondo's office.
Giving all the freebies we're giving away.
Oh, and then Raby with making it back-to-back. That was Fuelsy, and then Raby. TMA presented by Biondo and Friends. Chris Raby. OnlyFans. It's from Neil Allen, Craig
Well, they
Paquette.
got all the money apparently.
That would be great.
Yeah, more breaking news from St. Clair County, Doug, or St. Clair School District. There is another teacher, our friend, Brianna Coppage's best friend, has left her position or has been fired, Iggy? I don't know. I feel like you are a reporter on the street. A lot of shoe leather, Doug? Is that what you say?
He's wearing
It's
a lot
kind
of
of like what happened to Brianna. She's on administrative leave, and she'll just quit.
We're going to lose the entire history department there at this rate.
Can you imagine the kids going, what the hell is going on here?
I wonder how many others will pop up as soon as they hear how much money they're making.
Both Iggy and I were #reached out to by Brianna. Were you? Did she text you on Saturday morning as well?
Yeah.
I was. I got a text from her. She was supposed to have dinner with Caden in L.A. the night before, and she was asking if we wanted to have the new headline teacher from the St. Clair School District in Sullivan, Missouri, on the program, and of course we will.
Oh, he said yes, of course.
Well, I mean, I feel like when St. Clair School District teachers get into the stag industry, there's one show they can appear on.
That's a story we can own.
We are the 60 Minutes of Sullivan. And so Doug's morally safer, and I'm Mike Wallace, and Iggy, to me, is the news director at 60 Minutes. He gets it all done, and so it's
Don Hewitt.
Don Hewitt. Nice. Real nice.
I'd rather be Leslie Stoll.
Hot.
Yeah, she was supposed to. I don't know. I did respond to her. I didn't respond to the last one, selfish and not mad. But she said, I said, did you get to hook up with Caden? And she said, I was supposed to have dinner with Caden last night, and she was feeling under the weather, so just me and Moz had dinner, M-O-Z.
Who the heck is
I didn't
Moz?
ask who was Moz.
Doug, do you know Moz?
No.
That's my roommate, dog. Well,
What do you mean your roommate dog?
Jared Mosner, Moz, lives in Denver now. What up, Moz? So when I saw
It's the
that, I
same
was
guy?
confused. It is definitely not. He's a lumberjack of a man, though. He's about 6'4", redhead. Super fit now. Yeah.
Is that Manuel's nickname, Moz?
I, for the life of me, I have no idea what that is. Or who that is.
What, did you ask who Moz was?
No, I didn't. I didn't get back to her.
I had sex and now Dad is dead.
Oh, she killed her father.
Yeah, so I don't know who Moz is.
No. Well, it would have been a reasonable follow-up question.
Fozzie thought Mosaic.
Well, I think
I wouldn't
someone
think it's
said Mosaic.
I think Tim did.
I did. In our group text.
Yeah, and I said they wouldn't outbid something.
Guys, is it TMA presented by Pocket Tube? That's from the 217. Doug, I don't know if they're still in operations or not.
Right, different time.
You can continue to text in. We'll have the 20 questions with our new sponsor, if it gets to 20, coming up at 7:45. 314-881-TMA5 EDF Group text inbox. That is where you can get involved on this program. The EDF Group sponsor the text inbox here on TMA. And that is how many of you can interact with this program, along with calling in at 636-9004-TMA and emailing in for the Design, Air, Heating, and Cooling email of the day, the morning after at InsideSTL.com. Well, Doug, I mean, on Friday afternoon, it was 80 degrees, and then at about 5 o'clock, fall time made its presence announced in the St. Louis area with the Hvac, with a front, and with rain, and immediately it was fall time. And over the weekend, cold temperatures, rain, and we went right to winter, just like that. Early in the morning. Well, you better have already contacted Seth Goldcamp at Design, Air, Heating, and Cooling, because if you didn't, oh, Jack, I bet that heater was working this weekend. And if it wasn't, now you know you got to get the furnace tuned up. Quick, fast, in a hurry with Design, Air, Heating, and Cooling. Online at DesignAirService.com. Doug's a client. I'm a client. I had my furnace tuned up a few weeks ago with Seth's staff. You can do the same. You go to DesignAirService.com. You click on the Book Now tab, and they will come out. Takes just a matter of a few minutes, and now you're ready to go for the cold weather months, and they are here.
Oh.
Might be October, but they are here.
In the 20s tomorrow and
For
Wednesday.
All Hallows Eve.
It was 26 this morning with a wind chill.
Yeah, right.
33 now.
DesignAirService.com will save your day. DesignAirService.com, official HVAC provider of TMA and the Tim McKernan Show podcast. You want your question or erotic story or just your comment read, email me at tmckernan at InsideSTL.com for QFTA. Anything and everything is welcome to be discussed. So, guess the new title sponsor, 745. Gabe, brought to you by James Carlton. coming away at 9 o'clock. Design Air Heating and Cooling at 9:45. Email the day. And then Jackson and I will go down the hallway and we'll deal with the situation because they will not be happy about the Canucks game on Friday night. And it's still a burr in their saddle.
Yeah.
Not bad, though. Outshot 19-3 in the first period.
That's close.
And then as far as actual shots attempted, 35-4. Chris Kerber said it might have been one of the worst periods in years for the St. Louis Blues. So I don't know how many people are enjoying the game on Friday night against the Canucks. Somehow they were only down 1-0, and then the Canucks kind of started to capitalize, and all hell broke loose as the Blues lost 5-0. Doug, they play a bad game and a good game and a bad game and a good game and then a bad game. So I guess that means tomorrow night they'll beat the Avalanche like 5-1.
And they do it at exaggerated levels.
Yeah.
I mean, when they're bad, they're really bad, and when they're good, they really look good.
It's something else.
Yeah, it's hard to get I guess we don't know who they are yet. Maybe that's who they are.
And Vrana's the guy who is in the doghouse early on. Berube knew how to lead. He would call out his effort in the first couple weeks of the season, but instead he's just had him as a healthy scratch back-to-back games. Yeah. And even though he was one of the players who kind of, you said he had blue feet, I think is what you said early on in the season. He had a goal against the Coyotes, but healthy scratch while they were on the Western Canada road trip to wrap that up against the Flames and the Canucks. They will take on the Avalanche tomorrow. But the talk of the town, the doggies, are these the calls of Joey Zanaboni? It'd be wonderful. Are these the FS1 calls?
FS1.
Take a listen, Doug. It's stunning development early on as Sporting KC gets the first goal.
All right, hit the lever.
Here's Polito. Can they challenge Berkey? And Dembe's coming forward. He has space, and Dembe! A wonderful goal from the unlikeliest source. The left back, Logan Dembe, gives the visitors the lead in match 1 of round 1 of the Western Conference playoffs.
And I saw your tweet right when he scored, Doug, and you were very critical of the Doggies' defense.
I was critical of the announcers. Who is he to get excited when our team gets scored on?
Oh, there was a lot of that on the St. Louis City page where Twellman was getting dragged.
Oh, is that right?
Dragged.
So when your team loses, you blame the announcers?
Yeah, I had to comment on one of them.
Twellman was the announcer?
No, he wasn't the announcer. He was the color analyst.
Yeah.
On that game? Then
Yes.
that wasn't FS1. I watched FS1, and it was some guy that played for Germany was the analyst, and the
Bundesliga or second Bundesliga?
The guy who was announcing.
So there were two different. There was an FS1 crew and an Apple TV crew. Is that accurate then?
There must have been, because that was the announcer was.
Yeah, you know what? When I watched that pregame and they go kickoff in 16 minutes, and I go, all right, that'll do it. It was two different gentlemen. It wasn't Twellman. But the highlights I watched this morning, I believe, were Twellman. So they probably had two separate crews, Apple TV and FS1. Well, just moments later, here comes Timmy Parker, Doug.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Hit the lever, Flowsy.
Vasilev. Jackson tries to flick it on. It's Parker!
See, he wasn't as excited when we scored. Who is this announcer? What does he have against us?
Why does he hate the gateway to the West?
He seems to hate the gateway to the West and all of its citizenry.
He ate tilted ravioli and goes, okay, what's the big deal?
Yeah. Doug, you ever like when a text?
I hate that.
I think that was the Apple TV call. Thanks. Okay. That's from Fuels.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we said that.
He said Fuels. But Doug, this Sporting KC was not intimidated by the momentum from Tim Parker's equalizer. We're still in the first half.
Polito will keep it in play, looking for Shallowy Blum, only as far as Kinda. The kick save from Berkey. Voltaire! And in! The lead again! Back and forth in Missouri. The visitors from across the state take the lead back 10 minutes before halftime.
Don't say visitors from across the state.
Are you hooked on the Kansas
He
thing?
seems really happy when they score.
All right, well, it's because they got another one in the first half. Let's see how he sounds on this.
It is amazing to me how quick and reactions are on point from Gotti Kinda.
Oh, what a goal! What a half from Sporting KC!
These guys.
That third goal was filthy.
It was dirty, Doug.
What was so filthy about it?
Just way outside the box, little curve.
Oh, bend it like
shot.
Beckham?
Yeah, he bent it. It was nice.
You
The
think
second goal
was it Kieran Knightley and bend it like Beckham, right?
I don't know. I didn't see the picture.
Twellman got a little excited there, too.
Yeah.
Yell at him.
Yeah.
Oh, like I said, he was getting absolutely dragged.
Because he was somewhat excited about Kansas City scoring?
Oh, yeah.
Or about the play?
Yeah, basically, he was bashing St. Louis City every chance he could.
I can tell you this because I talk to him every Tuesday. I don't know if there is anybody more emotionally invested in St. Louis City SC than Taylor Twellman.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess it doesn't matter. All right, well, let's see what Tim Parker had to say what went wrong, because you have a potpourri of choices here, as they will have to win 2 in a row to get out of the first round.
Mm-hmm. Lever,
I think a couple of them came down to first and second balls that we weren't aggressive enough to step in and win. And then, when you're not closing the ball down from a certain distance, they have good enough players to punish you. So I think we definitely felt the brunt end of that tonight. As a group, we have to really reset. I think there's the good thing about this is now it's a 2-game series for us. Now we have to look at it as 2 games that we still have to win. So we have to, obviously we'll be in tomorrow, we'll look at film and stuff, we'll look at a couple of different things, but I think we really need to have a hard look at how we want to play together as a team going into this next game.
I don't know if I like that soundbite.
Why?
What is he? It's a good thing now that they have to win 2 in a row. It's weird that you can kind of put a good spin on
this loss will help us in September and October.
I honestly, I'll be honest. I have no idea. I thought they were out. I have no idea it was a 3-game series.
Oh, for heaven's sakes.
They're not out.
2 out of 3.
Ugh.
What do you mean, yuck? We're still in it.
Yeah, you should be happy they're still alive, Plowhawk.
Yeah, but I don't know if I like I don't like that format.
Why not?
The first round is best of 3, and then everything else is 1 game.
I don't know. For some reason, I thought one.
I will tell you this. Some of the more hardcore European soccer fans feel like they are trying to Americanize MLS by doing a series.
Well, we're in America.
This is America, Jack.
So
Cleo McDowell, 1988. Cleo McDowell said
I don't
that?
know the years, Tim.
I guess I should have thought of that, but I just assumed it was just a one and done.
Y'all are acting like 10-year-olds who didn't get the toy they wanted at Walmart. Jesus, that's from the 636.
Huh. Yeah, but that was my comment early this morning to a crazy fan.
So what do they do? Kansas City Wednesday?
Oh, is that what you said that to somebody?
Yeah, I had the Twelman getting dragged. You should see the comments, man. I would just recommend in your free time read the comments.
What is this, a Facebook group?
It's
I don't believe I'm a member just yet.
I can just screenshot.
Are you in the queue? They just haven't accepted you?
I'm sure it's an auto accept, I would assume.
City has 2 wins in their last 9 games. That's from the 314. Meanwhile, the best team as of late, even though they were the 8th seed, has been, if I'm not mistaken, Sporting KC, at least in the West. They've been on a heater since May. They just started off like garbage.
Didn't have to win like their last 10 or something like that to get in the playoffs?
Yeah, I remember asking Taylor a couple weeks before the playoffs. I go, hey, this thing could shape up where you could have Sporting KC in the first round. Producer Joe was obsessed with Dallas. He was worried about Dallas. And Taylor would always dismiss Dallas. And then they got Sporting KC, which was kind of a mathematical outlier considering where they were and the things that had to happen. And alas, Doug, well, this is a red-hot Sporting team.
Yeah.
When do they play again?
They play this Sunday, and it'll be at 5 p.m. You might go, or is it 3 p.m.? 3 p.m., I think, in Kansas City. And you might go, oh, boy, they're going heads up against the Chiefs. And the Chiefs, I think, are taking on the Dolphins in London, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So one series can take almost a month?
And then the final game, when the Doggies have their bounce-back game in Kansas, will be on November 11th. At 5 p.m., and we will find out possibly in about 4.5 hours what time Missouri and Tennessee will play. I think this is a
Missouri
week.
and Georgia?
No. That sound like the Price is Right Showcase Showdown wheel?
Yeah, it's winding down to a conclusion.
I think CBS is going to opt to use their 6-day window here because I don't think they've done it yet this year. But you got Alabama, Kentucky that day. You got Georgia hosting Ole Miss, and you got Missouri hosting Tennessee. Let's see what happens this weekend in Athens and Tuscaloosa before we decide what times to slot these games that weekend. I think LSU's hosting Florida as well, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right, Joe? Jackson or producer Joe?
LSU LSU. That would be on the 11th. We'll be hosting Florida.
Yeah, so you got 4 games that are live.
Okay.
I would think Georgia, Ole Miss.
At the moment, Georgia, Ole Miss.
Unless Mizzou beats Georgia.
Missouri beats Georgia. I think it's live for 2:30. Point being, you could have City playing at the same time as Missouri. That is live. So, what did Bradley Carnell have to say about last night's debacle?
Is he the coach?
Perfect.
Definitely.
This game, following the way the last 2 games of the regular season, though, is this an unpleasant trend?
Yeah, I felt there was different energy about us today. I thought there was a little bit more of us being, connected to us, the occasion. I didn't think there was too much wrong with the first half at all. And the scoreline is 3-1. So, we blink an eye and it's 3-1 and we're thinking, how did that happen? So obviously there's little moments in there that we can get better and do better and have to do better with. But I don't think there was too much separating the 2 teams going into the half.
Okay, there, Ollie.
Well, that happens sometimes.
Except for 2 goals.
Hawks going after Bradley Carnell. The surprise, because he's been their most valuable player, was Roman Berkey, and 3 of the 4 goals were from deep, and I mean deep. Here is what he had to say following last
Okay,
night.
I'd like to hear it. Hit the lever.
Roman, what was the problem out there tonight? More goals than you've allowed all season, 3 in the first half. It looked like, how did he get away from you?
Yeah, it was, I would say, collective, not good enough. We had problems when they had a goal kick and they played a long ball, usually easy for us to defend. But this time today, we had a lot of problems and just like unusual. No pressure on the ball, let the guys shoot, don't block, no blocking the shot, and up front we just were not enough, like I would say, just not, not deadly enough. The shots we had were most likely on the goalie, easy saves, and the shots they had decent shots.
Sounds like he blamed everybody but himself.
I just, honestly, I'm going to revert back to this. It's going to take potentially 3 weeks for one series to end. And I'm serious.
Get over the
am I the
timeline,
only
buddy.
one that's just kind of blown away by that aspect?
I'm with Plowsy. The finals can be in February.
Yeah,
Genie is back for the MLS playoffs.
You're playing soccer in ice and snow. You just played in sleet. It makes very little sense to me in terms of how the schedule is planned
it could be over in 1 week. It could be over Sunday to Sunday.
Yeah, but like you go, you hope things extend and last as long as possible. So the next series is a 5-game series.
1 game.
A 1 game. Okay. Now I'm a little better. I thought it extended series the longer it went.
No, they do a series for the first round, and then everything's 1 game after that.
Okay, I can.
So now you're on board again.
I can but still.
Hey, do you understand that?
Oh, I do. Yeah, I just think the season's too long, and then you have these finals in January and February. I mean,
it's my problem with baseball.
The finals are December 9th. The final game is December.
Some of these stadiums are outside. It's a little chilly.
Yeah. Well, same with football.
I mean, I'm not playing, so I don't care. But
football's chilly too.
It's 2 weeks max, dopey.
Oh,
it's from the 636.
3 games take a week each. So you start playing on Sunday. If they don't play, and they play next week, and then they play the week after that. I guess it's 2.5.
Sunday to Sunday to Sunday would only be 2 weeks, really.
It's still stupid.
Oh,
it's still ridiculous.
Okay,
right?
I think
it's a little insane.
I think they reward every team that made the playoffs with at least 1 more home game and at least 2 out of 3, so that it's not play a whole season, you're done in 90 minutes later. And then after you get past the first round,
Plowhawk's looking at the text.
Then they probably realize. Are they coming after you?
I don't even know anymore. There's so many to read. Some of them that's funny. Are they going to be relegated to the Veta Sports Complex League? They're all
I
outside.
didn't even see that one. TMA, the place to go for all your soccer news and analysis. Catch up with Pepper and Genie as they take a deep dive into the playoffs.
Take us long.
Some Dewey Oxburger. Doug, bring in Precky. That's from TJ. I'm sorry.
But the NFL's the same way, where you start out in the darn middle of the summer, and by the time you play the championship, you could get 2 degrees. It's happened. Not the Super Bowl, but the playoff games leading up to it. Sometimes those AFL, NFL championship games are played in the dead of winter.
Neither of you watched it. Why do you care? You boring-ass Hoosiers. Well, that's from a girl, too. Jenny, and her last name is Talia.
Just because we don't watch it, I mean, we can't comment on how long the thing
No,
takes.
you can't, and you should.
Yeah, y'all realize the Gilded Age started last night, right? Like, sorry, way more important thing for me to worry about. 18th century television program.
So 1700s?
1700, yeah, the Gilded Age. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Maybe more in the 19th
Give me a rundown
century
of the
that.
years for
People
with
complain
the Gilded
about
Age.
People complain about so many things. It doesn't matter. I mean, Michael Block got an invitation to play in the Australian Open this year, sponsor exemption. People are bitching that he got a sponsor exemption to play in the Australian Open.
Bitching. I never heard people talk about that on the street.
It's all over the place.
It is?
Really?
Yeah.
About a sponsor exemption for a golf tournament in Australia?
Yeah, I think
It's all over the streets.
Scott Hand.
No one's talking about that.
Scott Hand, who's Australian, said this is stupid. He's not even from Australia. He didn't qualify for this. You're giving him a spot. And then there are all kinds of comments after that. You're right. He shouldn't be allowed just because he played well in the PGA. Who is this guy? I don't know why it bothers people.
What I hear on the street in St. Louis is, can you believe how bad the Cardinals were? What are they going to do about it? Are the Blues any good? I don't know. Okay. That's most of the conversation.
What did people say about Scott Hand on the street?
Nothing.
Am I the only
don't
one
even know who he is.
I don't tune. I don't get that saying the word on the street or what people are. I don't listen to anybody when I'm like walking around town or like I shut everybody out. It's not like I'm like walking by somebody talking about like giving a Cardinal breakdown and just stop.
You stop
just
and
stand there.
kind of lean into it to see what you
Okay,
hear.
that's what they're talking about. I have no idea what people were
water
talking.
cooler chatter.
Nobody, and I mean nobody, is talking about Michael Block or whoever Scott Hand is. Call the cops. It's another hijacking. Answer Midge or Madge.
What do you mean nobody? Well, I just told you who.
Who was?
Scott Hand. He
was talking about
an Australian golfer. And then people were
Who
commenting.
is he, though?
He's an Australian golfer.
And he's
I've
talking
never
about
heard
Michael
of
Block
Scott
getting an
Hand in my
exemption.
life.
Getting an exemption to the Australian Open. And I'm not saying everybody. I'm just saying that why would people be upset because he's playing in Australia?
I don't think.
But they were.
It'd be hard-pressed to find anyone in America upset by that.
Well,
is Scott Hand the hand that Mae Young gave birth to? Thanks, that's from
Oh.
Peg Diaz. Iggy should get a big J job. All his stories are based around a Twitter user who wasn't happy. That's from Crystal City Clamhammer.
No, it wasn't a Twitter user. It was an article. I see a golf article, I read it, there's something about Tiger or Justin Thomas said this or blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then under that, there's a bunch of other articles you can click on, and somebody said, Scott Hand not happy with Michael Block getting exemption. So I read it, because I like reading Michael Block's stories. He's in the news quite a bit.
Pride of Parkway Central, Doug. Cool.
He's in the news quite a bit.
Especially with this Scott Hand.
Yeah. I keep reading about the war in Israel and Ukraine, and turns out all the news is about Scott Hand.
Well,
If you mute all those words, all that comes up is in your Twitter timeline is Scott Hand.
Guys, give Iggy credit. That wasn't a hijacking. It turns out the Australian Open is the new title sponsor, and he's just weaving it.
Oh, it could be.
Maybe Michael Block's the new title sponsor.
Yeah.
You don't know. He's got money now.
I love this show. It's like Tim and Doug are the teachers, and Plowhawk and Smoke are the kids that need extra time on their test, and we get to listen in real time as they get pulled into the janitor closet and try to wrap their heads around simple topics. That's from caller Buzz. Milagro Tequila Lister of the month of June, I believe.
Well, it's something like that.
Who's the front runner for Milagro Tequila Lister of the month for October?
Oh, gosh,
They've
I
got two more shows, this one and tomorrow. And it'll
Chris
wrap
Raby
up.
for
Chris
me.
Raby?
Oh.
Me.
He had some great audio postcards.
He needs to sign up.
Oh, Chris, you
Yeah,
got to
he
sign
will
up.
sign up then.
I guess we go lipstick glass.
She already won.
Yeah, but we can have a two-time champion.
What about Brianna?
Oh, Brianna Coppage.
Does she listen?
Or the swinger that came in. I bet they could.
Yeah,
Booze.
but that.
They're from St. Louis, so they can pick up the package.
Why don't you give it to them?
I don't think she's coming in from Sullivan.
What do you
Oh,
have to
she
do to-
should. It's great tequila.
What do you have to do to sign up? To be
TMASTL.com, Jack.
Takes about 2 seconds.
Okay.
It's too much time.
You can
for
use your
Raby.
fake name, too.
Yep.
So you know that's
Yeah.
important to the audience.
You can keep your anonymity.
Okay. But how's Raby going to keep his anonymity?
Oh. Yeah, listeners love that.
They love what?
That they can say things.
It's well worth it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Milagro's great tequila. It's a great sweatshirt you get with that, too.
Bill.
I saw they They spelled Cucky's last name wrong, and it was really funny. I had to call him and tell him about it. I think he's picking it up this week. His little pack.
Who spelled his last name wrong?
I don't know if it was front desk or whoever, but it was one of the funniest.
How Cucky was spelled?
Yeah, Elgina. I don't know if that was. I don't know if it was on purpose or not, but it had to have been one of the funniest non-comedic things I've seen in a while.
Huh.
Went and got a paperclip and saw Steve Elgina.
Looks like Brian Henshin's making a case because he's already won, right? Brian Henshin won?
Yes.
Oh, did he?
He says, and young, I've been sitting here looking cute, drowning my journalism sorrows with tequila, and I'm fresh out of tequila. I think it should be me. So Brian Henshin. Yeah, these Colts. Yikes. Yikes.
He came and picked his up.
I don't know.
Stolen from Indiana.
Hoosiers nearly got the Nittany Lions, Doug. Tough.
Well,
Played them close for a while.
Did.
Long while.
those Penn State uniforms, I think they've got the largest numbers of any uniform.
Jackson's favorite uniform in college football.
Penn State.
True. Yeah.
I mean, the number covers almost their entire back.
I like that. It's like hockey. That's like a hockey thing.
Yeah.
I like that.
You can tell who they are.
I like big numbers.
Do you?
Nothing frustrates me more than when I see tiny little numbers on a jersey.
Tiny numbers, okay.
Well, people want a Pepper and Genie 2024 election T-shirt. Look at this. Was created by the Hunchback of Von Castle. You guys running?
Away from the show, yeah.
He's announcing his resignation. It's over.
He was a strong mayoral candidate there for a while.
Maryland Heights.
Yeah. Until I found out there was some work involved.
No, until they told me nobody's ever run for mayor who hasn't at least been a councilman. So you should probably run for councilman
Doesn't
first.
matter.
And I asked where that paid, and they said $6,000. I said, so much for that.
Huh.
Wrap that up.
Yeah, but you could get involved in corruption and probably bring in several $100 million.
Plus, you could do it on the side. It's not like that could be your only job.
Well, it would have been a side job. I don't think councilman really does anything.
Oh,
You got to go to the
Councilman.
meetings.
Sure, they take votes and things.
I know Jamie Burkhardt does a lot. I know Clayton Patterson does a lot.
Sure.
I know Peter Munganess does a lot.
Oh, my gosh.
I know Ryan Seiberg in that service department does a lot. Yeah, it's Munganess, St. Louis Acura, Alton Toyota. 7 o'clock hour sponsor here on TMA. Presenting sponsor of Balloon Party on 101 ESPN and the official automotive provider of TMA and the Tim McKernan Show podcast. Munganess, St. Louis Acura, and Alton Toyota. Secret number for you to call or text if you're looking to buy or lease a new vehicle. Here it is. 314-252-0029. That's Munganest, St. Louis Acura, and Alton Toyota. Online at stlouisacura.com and altontoyota.com. 7 o'clock hour sponsor and a wonderful service department. So even if you didn't get your car from Munganest, get it serviced at Munganest, St. Louis Acura, and Alton Toyota. 7 o'clock hour sponsor here on TMA. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is the moment where the listeners get to guess the new title sponsor of this presentation. For a decade, Ryan Kelly, title sponsor of TMA, the Ryan Kelly Morning After. Preceding Ryan Kelly, the independent tire dealers. I think that takes you back all the way to 2009. So only 2 sponsors in 14 years. Well, today, make it Tree. You like that, the Tree
Couple
thing?
three.
Yeah, make it
We've
couple
had a couple three.
Is our new sponsor for the Guess the Title sponsor. Doug, you like guessing games, so he said here's a guessing game.
I like guessing games, yeah.
Available in the Jackson Burkett Horton Watkins studio.
Yep.
Wow. All right. How many questions, Doug, do you think it's going to take for one listener to guess the new title sponsor?
How's it going to work? Are they going to call in and...
They're going to text in, and I am going to... People continue to guess Marshall Wireless. Doug has already told you it's not Marshall
You going to give them any clues, any hints?
They get to ask questions. I will ask the question of the new title sponsor.
Okay.
And it's like yes or no.
What's my
is it,
line?
20 questions? What's my line? Is that what it is?
line?
Is that what it is?
Except they had blindfolds on, so same as here. You can't see our new
can't
sponsor.
see.
Yeah, you don't need blindfolds and radio.
People continue to
Wonderful thing
assume
about
it's
the medium.
Dr. Biondo. It is not.
It is not Biondo.
All right, Deke Dotem starts us off, and he should, Doug. I mean, he is the namesake,
Okay.
really.
All right, what's his question?
Is this a current or existing sponsor? I will handle this one. No. New sponsor. So not a current. That's a good question. This Dotem.
Gosh.
One down, 19 to go. Let's go to Kitty Carlisle.
Kitty Carlisle.
Bennett Surf, you're next.
Let's see what we got. Question. Sponsor, what is your social security number?
Oh, I think that's reasonable.
New sponsor, would you like to answer that?
No.
Oh.
We know it's a gentleman now.
Yeah.
At least we assume. All right, see what we got. People are theorizing it's Sound Story. It is not. They're thinking it's Kroenke Sports Entertainment morning after. All right. Are you a local company or a national company, new sponsor?
Local.
Oh, my God.
Gosh, it's very mysterious.
It sounds like it might be the Sam Elliott morning
Right.
after. All right. Gary Pinkel's cell phone just wants to know, who are you? But we're not. That would kind of cut.
Yeah, it's not a good question.
Brian Henshin wants to know, are you a foods place? I'm going to translate and say, are you a restaurant?
No.
Oh, gosh.
Goodness.
It's kind of a scary voice.
Do they sell liquid and lace?
Oh.
It sounds like people think it might be. It might be. What industry? That's too vague.
No, it's yes or no question.
Yeah, these are yes or no. We're doing yes or no. People think it might be The Undertaker. Caller Buzz thinks it's Maggie O'Brien's. That's not a bad guess, but
No.
again, Deke Dotem asked the
advertising.
question. Let's see. Let's see what we got. People continue to think if it's Kroenke Sports Entertainment. Let's see, Doug, I'm looking for more. If I say what industry, then that's not a yes or no.
No, it sure isn't.
Is it the Jamie Rivers morning after?
No.
Do you provide a service or a good? Doug, wouldn't that be every single industry?
I think they want it. The question should be, do you provide a service?
Okay. Do you provide a service?
Yes.
Yes,
Doug.
starting to get to it. So it's not
Right.
a good, it's a service.
See what we got. I'm looking. People think it might be Smash. You remember that Gotta Go to Work?
Oh, yeah.
Smash Band.
It'd be odd if Smash were to be the title sponsor.
You to come
All right.
a little early and talk to the girls because that show's kind of suck.
Now this is I don't know if this counts for the 20 questions or not. Hey, new sponsor, will you have sex with my wife?
Oh.
Doug? That's from the Recovering Alcohol.
Oh.
And that's an unfortunate, because I don't know if that's relevant to figure
No.
out.
Yeah.
He may not be prepared to answer the question.
No matter what he says, you're still not going to know.
Let's see. Boy, we are getting a lot of texts, many of which, candidly, would get us thrown off the air.
Oh, well, don't read it.
New sponsor. Do you cut trees? Cut trees.
Well, again, that would answer the question. He said yes.
No.
Okay.
No, so it's not a lumberjack.
Let's see. New sponsor. Do you sell overpriced cowboy boots?
Oh!
They're actually very well priced.
Rarely.
Oh, we might have a hint.
Occasionally. Okay.
Side job.
Let's see. Is Union Station next to your business? That's from the 314. That's a good question.
No.
Okay, so people are starting to think it was
That's
Eddie
not you.
McVeigh
Oh,
at Maggie
right.
O'Brien's. Is it a product like a car or a service like Mark Hanna with Evergreen Wealth Strategies? That's from Gummy.
You kind of answered that already.
Yeah, we've already said it. It is a service. We got that. Do you sell vehicles?
No.
No. Gosh, no.
Let's see what we got. Is your business in St. Louis City?
Yes.
Oh, Doug.
Boy, it's getting close now.
Oh, Doug. Let's see. Do you have television commercials on during local sports coverage? It's Flocky the Smurf.
Now, there's a good question.
Yes.
Oh, Bill.
Oh.
Oh, Bill. These questions. Do you appraise houses?
Not professionally.
Oh. Sounds like he could do it if he wanted to. Well, I think we all could. You look
Let's
at the
see.
comps.
People think it might be Brianna Coppage.
Come on.
Are you in the golf industry? Mr. Siders with a guess.
No.
No.
Yeah, people are guessing that it's Mark Milton. It is not. Man, A lot of guesses are starting to come in. I haven't seen a guess yet that
provides a service based in the city of St. Louis.
Are you a financial services company?
Sort of.
Oh my God.
Gosh, goodness.
That is a good answer to that.
Yeah.
My goodness. Is it a former sponsor? Not a former sponsor. This is all brand new. All brand new. Yeah, a lot of people are asking that question. Stephen Wildwood has fired a guess, an official guess from Stephen Wildwood.
What is it?
Car Shield. That is not the answer. It's not a bad guess, though. It is not the answer, though.
Car Shield local?
Yeah. It is indeed. People ask, do you have TV commercials on during local sports coverage? He's already answered that one. Does the sponsor like to shower with gentlemen?
Okay.
Are you a former teacher who now has sex for a living and gives all these fat losers continuous pores?
No, I'll answer that for him.
Maxwell Hung, another Marshall Wire. New sponsor. Are you a law firm?
Yes.
Oh, my God, Doug.
Boy.
Oh, my. That was Flip Wilson.
Flip.
I feel like at this point, you would think I would see a guess. People think it might be Chris Ravy. It's not Chris Ravy.
You're getting it narrowed down, though.
Let's see. Somebody just guessed Coles.
Coles?
You have a bus, and can we put stickers on it? That's from Chris Ravy thinking it might be the sticker bus. So many texts. I mean, world record for the Marshall Wireless thing was wonderful, but it's come in. I thought at this point we would have the answer.
Have guesses. He just said
really
what he's
would.
in.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I'm missing them. Plowhawk, you have the sponsor, the text inbox up, right?
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet.
I'm surprised. All right, let's see. Would we have seen or heard advertisements from your business before? That's KG010. That's a good question.
You better have.
Wow. How about that? See, Plowhawk, have you seen it yet? Have you seen it yet?
I'm looking.
No correct answers yet?
People are guessing Mark Milton. That is not Mark Milton.
No.
It's a nice guess. Nathan from the east side of Alton. Larry Thornton asked a law firm. We've already gotten that. I think we're getting so many texts that we're just behind.
Law firm based in the city.
That's what my theory is.
That advertises on St. Louis sporting events.
Right. Have you been a sponsor in the past? No. Does your bar have a bull in it?
What?
That's pretty good, actually. I really love that question, even though we already said it was a law firm.
Yeah, exactly.
Still.
A lot of sticker bus. People think it might be Blue Chew.
Everybody wants to be a comedian instead of giving legitimate questions.
It just shows they don't listen.
I think what it shows is there are so many texts coming in that it is actually behind, because at this point I can't believe that somebody hasn't guessed it. But again, maybe it's just slipping through. Norfolk State, I mean, we're getting like 50 texts every 60 seconds.
Yeah.
Are you being held against your will right now? That's from Gary Pinkel's cell phone etiquette.
Pawn store.
Is it a pawn shop? That's from banned fan page user burner accounts.
No.
Yeah, a lot of Car Shield guests.
Oh, here, Cucky, are there multiple locations?
Oh,
Did
good
we ask
question.
that?
Are there multiple locations?
That's a good one.
Yes.
Ooh.
Oh, wow. Man, I'm telling you. Are you a law? See, I mean, people are just behind. Are you a law firm? People
We
guess
established that,
Dobbs,
right?
Car Shield. No. Is it DeWitt in bow tie?
Oh.
It's from Flip Wilson.
LeGrand's meat counter. That'd be a big sponsorship.
I have never seen so many texts.
Are we on a 15-minute delay?
I think so many are coming in.
They must be podcasting at the time.
No, I think it's just so many are coming in because people continue to guess Car Shield. I want to give the winner. I feel like at this point we'll know when it's caught up when we see, and then we're going to see 100 of the guesses. Are you in the banking industry? I think it's already been established. It's a law firm. Now, Dotem. I mean, at this point, Plowhawk, I really think it might be 3 minutes behind.
It could be.
It really is.
A law firm based in the city that advertises on local sporting events.
There you go.
I mean, that narrows it down to very few.
Someone in the YouTube chat has guessed it. That's from our general sales manager. Brad in the YouTube chat gets the win, and I would imagine we're going to have 300 texts that are going to. Ladies and gentlemen, the new sponsor of TMA, we welcome to the program Brown and Krupin, Doug.
All right.
Oh, it was guessed.
Exciting.
It was guessed? Well, now you're going to see 300 of them because
there we go.
the total package was the first one in the text inbox, and now they're coming in fast and furious.
Oh, they've got it.
Tracy Woodson's got it. Yeah, just that's how many. I mean, look how many texts came in at 7:53. We welcome to the program, entering the Michelob Ultra Studios, the new presenting sponsor. Oh, it's Jackson Burkett.
Oh, Jackson!
Terry Krupin, there he is.
Hello.
What's up? How are you?
Hi, Jerry.
Ed, Andy, how are you? Welcome in.
Hello.
There's Ken Strode. I'm sure you know him from Straight to the Web.
Let me turn his mic on.
Were you surprised it took that long?
I was. Of course, I know his voice really well, even when it's like half a pitch lower.
Yeah, what?
A little offended, too.
That it took that long?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
I mean, we were getting
the whole deal.
Look at these, the number of texts and the guesses. The guesses that
now they're coming out.
Yeah, they're coming in fast and furious. I think there was some kind of delay because we were getting so many texts. Gentlemen, welcome to the show, and thank you for choosing to be the presenting sponsor of this wonderful presentation.
This is the most exciting thing that's ever happened. So I can't speak for them. I can't speak for them, but for myself, this is magic.
Where does my day go from here?
I think you're being facetious.
No,
really.
Oh, you should know that my sarcasm and my reel are identical.
Yeah.
So you'll never know.
You know, you guys got a lot of rules in your bathroom.
Like what?
Oh, man.
There are. There's about 5 of them, aren't there, on the sheet,
Yeah, and
Andy?
one of them's a lie.
What is that?
So
to wash your hands.
After I had already, there's some weird deal with the lock where you have to push it in, but don't turn it, because if you turn it, then you're ruining it for everyone, and the building manager has to come to unlock it.
That is correct.
And I did that, and I was like, oh, shoot. But you can't tell people that after you've already done it. It opened up just fine, and then you've got to leave the door 3/4 open. I've never been in a bathroom with more rules. It was surprising. It was weird.
Hey, do you want to check it out now?
I'm going to have to check out the toilet.
Do not turn the lock.
Well, we've locked ourselves
when do we get
out.
to repaint over these things?
Yeah, that has been ordered, I believe, and you will see the Brown and Krupin logo there right behind the Plowhawk here running the board, I believe, very shortly, as a matter of fact. But we didn't want to give it away because we wanted the guessing game. That was a wonderful vocal alteration you were doing there, Terry. Were you channeling people were guessing you were Batman.
I was actually channeling What's My Line?
Nice.
Which I am, unfortunately or fortunately, old enough to remember.
Yeah, me too.
And they did that all the time.
Were you watching first run episodes?
Yeah, right. I was on my 12-inch TV.
That was with Gary Moore, right? Wasn't he the host of that?
Well, no, it was John Daly.
Oh, going way back.
Yeah, the original. And then, they've remade all these things a million
And Durwood Kirby was on there for a
They
while.
had a guy on once that had been there when Lincoln was assassinated.
Really?
Are you kidding me?
It was this frail old man. They trotted out, and the secret was that he had well, I'm confusing What's My Line, and I've got a secret.
Right.
But to show you what they had, this guy had been a little boy in Ford Theater the night.
Oh, my God.
Yes.
And you know, he's probably invented his story over the years, because let's face it, if you're 4, little boy, you're watching a show, maybe you hear a firecracker type shot in the background. You have no idea what's going on. But I bet you by now he's got a perfect recollection of
at the age of 4.
everything that happened. I saw him coming from the left.
That's right. He's a witness on it. You guys just moved into a brand new building on the hill, is that correct?
That's right.
Wow, what's going on? It was right across from Regazzi's, am I right, in that area? Right?
Yeah. It was an old group of warehouses. There were 3 of them. 2 of them lost to time, and we revived one of them. And we actually just moved in last week. It's been really exciting.
Yeah.
I think it makes us officially, and Terry, you would know better on this, but I think that overnight we became the #1 employer on the Hill.
Oh, is that right?
Because we've got 265 people total.
Yeah.
And now we're on Daggett. We're on the Hill, and it's at 50,000 square feet.
Yeah.
I think that might also make it the biggest office space on the hill.
No, it's beautiful.
Ed was already the number one eater on
I was
the
already,
hill.
I had that. Yes, I was number one there. I'm the number one Adriana's customer.
Oh, Adriana's strong. You guys have that sandwich series on YouTube, which has ridiculous numbers of views, by the way.
People love sandwiches, Tim.
Yeah.
And Adriana's, that episode is one of my favorites.
And we seem to have unique qualifications to eat sandwiches. I don't know how that always translates.
You know how it
into
goes?
the
It's
law.
that 10,000 hour thing.
Yeah, that's right.
If you do anything for
Yeah,
10,000 hours, you're an expert.
What did you decide was your favorite place for sandwiches? It sounds like you're a big Adriana's guy, Ed. Is that right?
It's Adriana's for me, and specifically, I love their meatball, but on the days that they have the sloppy Giuseppe,
I was going to guess it. I know you so well.
I won't stop praising it. I think it should be on the permanent menu. And
What's on it?
It's a sloppy Joe, but it's done Italian
Yeah.
style. So the meat is ground up. It's a combination of beef and pork. There's simmered peppers and onions and a little sweetness, just like you get in a sloppy Joe.
Yeah.
It's almost like a little, I want to say brown sugar.
Oh.
You put that, they put it on one
say
of
it.
their hoagies. It's got the melted cheese on it. I tell you, do yourselves a favor. Check their daily specials, and when you see it, you got to get down there. Drop everything.
Doug, let's get down there.
I love the name.
Sloppy Giuseppe.
Great.
Sloppy Giuseppe.
And one of the things that made it special was my wife, who grew up on the hill, caught us doing this. And I had told her I was going to the gym. And I'm sitting there with a table filled with
Which people think was a setup, but it actually wasn't.
No, that was true.
I had no idea she was going to be dropping by. It was pure coincidence.
I could have been at the gym.
Honey, that sandwich is so heavy.
Hey, you got a mic? Tell us about the history of Brown and Krupin, if you would. You've
Well-
been in St. Louis for numbers of years.
Yeah, 45?
45 years.
45, yeah. Many years ago, I had a father. He was alive, and he was a bail bondsman. And he worked in the city all his life. Both my brothers were bail bondsmen. And my dad always said, when you grow up, you're going to be a lawyer. So I went to law school. I went to the University of Missouri, not law school, but undergraduate, where I met Ron Brown. And we became friends. And when we both graduated, we were both going to law school. And we decided to go into partners together. And it just grew. I always thought that a lot of people needed lawyers but didn't know exactly what to do. And so we went on a local radio station. That's where we started. And we put some ads on. And it was very successful. We were the first to do it. And it grew and grew and grew. And then we went on TV and eventually billboards. What are we on? We're every place, basically.
Yeah.
And
But this is the coolest thing we've done is being
See, Doug?
the title
See, Doug?
sponsor.
Yeah,
see, Doug?
In the morning
You get your
after.
check
We've
for that
now
on the way out.
finally got
This
the
is
pinnacle.
kind of, it's like getting the Super Bowl.
You know what? I'm not even being facetious. There's nothing better than a loyal and dedicated audience.
How about
Period.
that, Doug? Take
it
that,
really
Doug.
is. It's number one.
Many of whom need lots of legal help.
It's true. And I think, Terry, I just want to brag on you for 1 second, if
go
you
ahead.
don't mind.
No,
but I mean,
I'm gonna sit down.
one of the things, because I joined the firm about 23 years ago, one of the things I always respected about Terry and about Brown and Krupin was that they put it right out there to the public. They were willing to go on air at a time where a lot of lawyers, didn't exactly like advertising. They didn't embrace it. Now, you fast forward 44, 45 years, everybody's advertising.
No.
Everybody's on TV and the internet, and it's the norm. They forget that, Terry was the lightning rod for all of that judgment, for all of those
Yeah.
years.
You catch
But
a lot of
he
hell,
hung out.
caught a lot of hell for it, I guess.
We
Really? Is
did.
that right?
Now, listen, now, what happens is the passage of time, and now he's earned his respect as, he's in the Titan 100. Yeah. He's in the St. Louis Icon Awards from the lawyers, which is amazing.
They drop pies.
We let them
and
catch
cakes
their
by
breath after finding out they were in the presence of a Titan 100.
But wait,
Titan 100.
But I'm just saying, it's
I
a hell
have
of a
to
thing.
say, Ron and I grew a nice business, and we did a lot of advertising. But then Andy and Ed, Andy's my son, came along.
Ran it into the ground.
No, and really transformed it into enabled us to really help a lot of people. Which, as you may or may not know, scaling something up is difficult. A lot of things can go wrong. And because of their leadership, it didn't go wrong. And now we've got this. You guys got to come down and see what they've built. I say they because it was their work, not mine.
Mostly Andy's, to be fair. He really took lead on that project, and it is spectacular.
Yeah, it's a...
We're going to open it to the public. We're going to do open houses. I know a lot of people out there are curious because they've been watching this project for almost 2 years now.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to have a lot of events, and we want to be an active part of that community. We were already just in their Italian festival parade 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
Where I mistakenly invited everybody I saw to dinner.
That's how this all started. He literally have it on video. He invited everybody for a spaghetti dinner.
Yeah. I don't know what we're going to do.
I want to ask you about the famous Stan Kroenke spot. That's certainly near and dear to this particular program and this particular audience. Doug and I heard Jeff Fisher's press conference, which was January of 2012. And that was the last time Stan Kroenke spoke in St. Louis, unless he was deposed in St. Louis. And it was the last time publicly. And our first reaction on the opening moments of that show in January of 2012, I said to Doug, what's your reaction from the Jeff Fisher press conference? And Doug, do you recall what you said?
They're moving.
Yes. We thought from that press conference, like, we can tell that it's on. You guys had a famous ad campaign.
We did.
Tell our audience about that.
I was home once watching football, and it occurred to me that we were never going to, with the playoffs, and it occurred to me we were never going to be in the playoffs. We would never have any relevance, because it also, I believe that when you lose two teams, that's the end. You're never going to get another team. And it pissed me off. And so I sat there and I thought, this guy really hosed this whole city over what? He was worth 10, 12 billion. So he made another billion, which Lord knows what I would do for $1 billion, but he didn't need it. And just to get a little more money, he just sold and lied to the city and sold us down the river and really hurt us. I think when you lose those teams, you're not what you were.
Yeah, an NFL team.
And so I sat there and very quickly wrote out a 30-second commercial. And I went to Andy and Ed and I said, "What do you guys think?" And they said, "Let's run with it." And so we produced it.
Well, I remember that slightly different. You wrote it. You weren't writing it necessarily as a commercial. You were pissed, and you were writing it really to purge it out of your own system. I mean, you didn't. There was no business interest there except to say you were mad.
Yes.
You showed it to us, and I remember us saying, "This is great, Terry. I'm not sure what we do with this." And then we got a call from the sales rep at KMOV.
That's all true.
Saying that they had some unsold local insertion Super Bowl ads. And then all of a sudden, we all had kind of a collective light bulb. We're like, that's the place. If we're going to put that message out, let's just stick that in, because if we had never done a Super Bowl ad.
Yeah.
They're very expensive.
Yeah.
And we thought, we're not just going to run a regular commercial. That's just not special. I'm like, but maybe you take 30 seconds and you just share the collective rage of the city. And we don't even put our name on it. And we never did. If you look back on the ad, it never had the firm's name. It didn't have our number. It wasn't really an ad. Right. It was just one guy, vocalizing the rage of a collective city. And it resonated because of all the things we've ever done, that got more international attention. He was interviewed because the guy owns
BBC.
Arsenal. So,
because they hate him there.
Yeah, they do.
they hate him around the world. And Terry's message went far and wide.
Resonated.
And a guy from the BBC said, "Can we do an interview?" We did that, and it was no, nobody likes the guy, and it was just it was so much. I won't call it fun, but so satisfying, and it was fun. But I remember sitting home, and my computer skills aren't good, but I could get on YouTube back then. And I watched the views because we put it up. And it, 10,000, 20,000, 30, 100, 200, 300. And it was just remarkable. It really struck me.
How it really caught on. What did you guys think as attorneys with what wound up transpiring with the settlement and where things stand at the moment with that money not necessarily being distributed?
I did not follow it that closely. It seemed like a lot of money. I think in the beginning, everyone was questioning whether or not there was a legitimate cause of action. And as it progressed, oh, yeah, there was.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would have been exciting to see it go to trial. But I think it's really difficult to leave $50,000 on the table, let alone what was the last
$750 million.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say, no, let's roll the dice.
Yeah.
I'd rather have an NFL franchise.
Yeah, that's what I had hoped.
But it probably was never on the table.
But they talked about it.
Yeah.
You know,
People talked about it, but it never materialized.
We'll get an NBA
I'll just say
team
this,
before
the
an NFL
Washington
team
Nationals in Washington, D.C., that's the third time they got a baseball team. They lost their first two baseball teams.
Is that right?
One
The
became
Senators?
the Twins, one became the Rangers.
They were both Senators,
They
right?
were both Senators.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, originally Nationals, and then they changed their name, I think, very quickly to the Senators.
Oh, is that right? I didn't
And
know
I
that.
think it was
Okay.
an original. I'll have to look that up. But you did have two franchises there. They got a third, and then in 2019, they got a world championship. So
Yeah.
I'm not giving up hope here in St. Louis.
It's good. It's good that
I'm
keep
the last guy.
Keep the torch. Keep the flame.
It is the largest market in the United States without a team outside of Orlando, but they're not going to put a fourth team in Florida. So I don't know. I mean,
And Orlando has so many other attractions to get people's attention, and if they look at other cities where that's been the case, it's challenging. But St. Louis, listen, it was not our fault. You go back to the good years.
No,
that
you're
team
right.
was well supported.
And you know, it had an odd effect. This money, everybody views this money like it's so much money that it's going to transform the city. And sadly, you know, $500 million is an enormous amount of money. But when you try to fix the problems of an entire city, it's just not going to touch it.
Right, you're right.
You know,
on that.
and I'm afraid people ultimately, the money's going to eventually be spent. Nothing much is going to change, and people are going to be disappointed yet again.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, St. Louis hasn't recovered at all. In fact, businesses have moved out, restaurants have moved out, but you guys have decided to stay in the city.
It is.
Well,
Yep.
Why did you make that decision?
You know, we've been in the city, specifically downtown, for the entirety of the existence of the firm. So it was a big deal just moving out of downtown.
Yeah.
But, you know, I feel like the city is the heart of the region. Without the city of St. Louis, you just have a bunch of sprawling suburbs without any kind of hub in the center holding it all together. It's where all the sports teams are. And so I think supporting the city was really important to us, staying in the city. And I didn't want a long commute.
But don't you feel like when people hear St. Louis, you know, around the country or whatever, they're thinking St. Louis City.
Sure.
They don't understand the difference in the county.
Mhm.
Only when you're local do you know that.
Yeah.
And I for me, it was a point of pride. Every other, and I'm not knocking anyone else's services, but most of the other law firms, they fled the city completely. They moved to the county because the county is all fancy and they have better restaurants to have lunch in, but they pulled a lot of revenue out of the city. Because
With that
the city
1%,
earns tax.
yes.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I don't want to make it seem all altruistic, but it was definitely on our radar. We were like, how can we leave the downtown, which had become a little bit sparse? And then we saw the Midtown area, so the Cortex and the Grove, and the Hill's always been great, and the Central West End. And you're like, you really do have something there. You have Forest Park, the university always keeps things fresh. Like, you could build around that and make the city great again, and we could be a part of that. Yeah. So, I mean, Andy found the building. And I remember the first time we walked through, we looked around, it had been a factory warehouse. They were manufacturing Magic Chef stoves since the early 1910s. And it's really quite remarkable. If you go online and see the original pictures, Sarah Van Claveren was showing to them, it's really fabulous. We walked around there, and it's like both of us he had a better vision for it than I did. I don't want to take too much credit, but he convinced me. Both of us looked around and were like, this could totally be a law firm. It would be the coolest law firm building you've ever seen. It would be like going to Google, but it would be for a law firm. Mm-hmm. And we looked at each other like, can we do it? I mean, it's 50,000 square feet. That's a huge building. Yeah. We're just like, let's do it.
No, at the time, remember, it was 90,000 square feet.
Right, we lopped off 40,000. We had to put parking in.
Park somewhere. Yeah, you got to park somewhere.
Employees and clients and not have.
He got some space available.
But and it mostly was done during this during the pandemic. And so one of the cool things about it is, I think it's the first office space that's really been designed and thought out in a post-COVID world, where we thought about things like space and open air and things we learned about people's working styles. Some people work better quietly and private.
Yeah.
Other people like the hustle and bustle of a cafe. And we've created different working areas in the firm where a person can kind of work in an environment that best suits them. So I think people are going to love it. I think it's going to be great for recruiting, and I don't think anybody's ever going to leave us. It's going to be hard to go from working in a cool place like that to anywhere else.
Sure.
But you know what? Don't underestimate. A law firm is an interesting thing. We're an organization that deals a lot in old-fashioned kind of values, like honesty and trust. People have to trust us. We have to be honest, and loyalty is just another one of those things. And I came to where I was a public defender in the city. I've worked in the city all my life, and the three of us decided that we're from St. Louis. It's our home, and we're going to do everything we can to make it as good as it can be. And sometimes you have to put your money where your mouth is.
God bless. Well, that's a message that will resonate with this audience, that's for sure. Gentlemen, it is a pleasure to welcome you on board. We are looking forward to having you with us. It sounds like every week to talk about a variety of topics. And Doug, the audience always comes up with wonderful topics. You're very supportive of the suggestions the audience makes.
It's vile in here. Are you able to handle that? The off-colored comments that we get in here?
We're big boys.
I hope you don't have your feelings hurt. I have my feelings hurt almost every day.
And Andy, Terry, thank you so much for getting on board with the show, and we're looking forward to working with you here as the new title sponsor of TMA. It's Brown and Krupin. There it is. We will close out the 7 o'clock hour. This is TMA, presented to you by Brown and Krupin.
Live from the Michelob Ultra Studios, KPNT-FM HD2, Collinsville, St. Louis. This is TMA All Day, the Tim McKernan Show podcast, featuring long-form interviews with people from the world of sports, politics, and entertainment.
And our guest today, Bill McClellan. Thanks so much for coming in.
Hey, my pleasure, Tim.
What's up, Caden?
Hi, how are you?
Joe Buck, our guest today.
Man, it's like I haven't seen you in years.
More than 500 episodes and counting, and it's available wherever you get your podcasts, including the TMA STL app. Get the app now at TMASTL.com.
Rosalitas know that a fun happy hour and scenic patio go together like fresh guac and chips. So take advantage of their covered patio this fall and winter at their De Pere location and enjoy happy hour specials Monday through Friday from 3 to 6. Their sparkling margarita is made with Chambord raspberry liqueur and topped with a bottle of rosé prosecco. They also have a variety of delicious margarita flavors, including mango, pomegranate, and blood orange, all made with top-shelf tequila and Cointreau. With phenomenal service, great margaritas, and a breathtaking atmosphere, there's always a reason to come to Rosalitas.
Hey, this is Tim McKernan. I'm with a great sponsor of TMA, and that's Longo Biggs of the Longo Biggs Injury Law Firm. People are starting to head out now. It is summertime, but that means an increase in car accidents.
Hey, guys. Like Tim just said, summer is finally here, and that means there's more people on the roadways. And you might be going to a Cardinals game, or maybe you're headed home from taking your buddy's money on the golf course. But with increased traffic on the roads, it also means a higher likelihood for car accidents. If you get in an accident, contact our firm immediately. We've successfully handled a countless number of car, motorcycle, and truck accidents. And if you go to our website, you will see we have received awards for doing so. We will make the process easy for you while maximizing the compensation you receive. Go to our website or Google Longo Biggs Injury Law.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Urban Dictionary defines thirsty as purposely, knowingly, and recklessly attempting to gain fame to boost self-esteem. So, are you thirsty? Well, TMA has you covered. Become a part of the 2023 TMA Listener of the Month Club. You nominate yourself for a monthly award. And if you win, you get recognition and stuff to help you satisfy that insatiable thirst. We're talking January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, etc. Go to TMASTL.com or the TMA app. Give us your name, a photo, and other pertinent information. Tell us why you deserve to be TMA Listener of the Month. And if you don't want to use your real name or photo, we don't really care. The TMA Listener of the Month. Get recognized just for being you, or fake you, or whatever. Quenched by Milagro Tequila. Welcome to the brighter side of tequila with Milagro in the morning after on KPNT HD2.
I'm Tim McKernan here with Action Jackson talking to you about Mark Hanna. TMA listeners have a lot to think through financially, whether it be saving up for their child's education or planning for their own retirement and everything in between.
Whether you're like me and just getting started with your financial planning, or you're already retired, call Mark Hanna.
It all starts with a 15-minute phone call to discuss your needs and design the right strategy for you and your future.
Visit evergreenstl.com or give Mark a call at 314-889-0503 today. Mark Hanna offers securities through Equitable Advisors and insurance and annuity products through Equitable Network, LLC.
Hey, this is Joe Buck. We all have people we miss and who we would do anything to see or hear again. Whenever I want to hear my dad's voice, all I have to do is go to YouTube, but most people don't have that luxury. Now with Sound Story, your family's stories can be saved forever. Sound Story is a professionally produced hour-long conversation in which you or one of your loved ones is interviewed by the host of your choice, including TMA's own Tim McKernan, Doug Vaughn, and Jackson Burkett. Hundreds of St. Louisans have already told their stories with Sound Story, and the experience is one they loved.
I think everybody that can do it, they should, for their children, for their grandchildren, because I know I would give anything to hear my parents' voice.
Visit mysoundstory.com today and use promo code TMA for 10% off your Sound Story gift certificate purchase. That's mysoundstory.com, promo code TMA for 10% off your Sound Story gift certificate purchase. Sound Story, for you, for them, forever.
Okay. Hot takes.
Yeah.
Pepperoncini. Pepperoncini.
And now the Pepperoncini Show with Darren Atkins and Ken Stroh. All right, take it, fellas.
There it is. That's the open.
Pepperoncini.
Pepperoncini. Pepperoncini. Pepperoncini. Pepperoncini. Pepperoncini. Pepperoncini. Pepperoncini.
We don't know what it is. We don't understand the name. We just know it's stupid. And it's available every weekday, featuring Iggy and the Plowboy. Apparently it's some kind of a podcast or something. Available at tmastl.com and on the TMASTL mobile app. Whatever. TMA presents their second ever trivia night, November 11th at Tim's alma mater, St. Gabe's, starting at 7:30 p.m. A little different than last year. Not just TMA trivia, all trivia, sports, entertainment, STL-centric, and a few rounds of TMA trivia thrown in for good measure. And it's hosted by Tim, Doug, Iggy, Plowsy, Action Jackson, and whoever else is on the show. You can purchase single tickets, tables of 8, or anything in between. Tickets are on sale now and are $45 a person. A portion of the proceeds from the event will go to St. Gabe's. Tickets include food from Salt and Smoke and all your Anheuser-Busch beer. But feel free to bring your own food and drink too. Another TMA Trivia Night, November 11th. Get more info and find out how to buy tickets at tmastl.com.
Do you want to support the EDF Group as a sponsor of TMA? Well, it's real simple. Do you have a fire extinguisher where you work? The answer is yes, you certainly do. So, please email the EDF Group at fire@theedfgroup.com so a technician can come out and explain to your team how the EDF Group can save your company money. Again, that email address is fire@theedfgroup.com. The EDF Group is hot and will prevent your facility from having hot fires. Experience the EDF Group difference. Learn more at theedfgroup.com.
Hey, if you like the morning after, check out Balloon Party on 101 ESPN. HD1, by the way. It's sports talk with Tim McKernan and Action Jackson from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. each weekday, right after the morning after. It's the worst named show in the history of radio, but the content's pretty good, so check it out on 101 ESPN or get the podcast on the TMA app.
Come back
Now.
It's the Brown and Krupin Morning After
On KPNT HD2, Collinsville, St. Louis.
Was there an open there?
It was like a return.
New sponsor?
Yeah, the return is now with it. Yeah, that's
about that?
kind of a surprise. We're very buttoned up here. 590 would have taken us a week to do that.
Oh, Bill. Oh. Sorry, he's closing the door. There's Billy Gilman. So, welcome back. It is TMA, presented to you by Brown and Krupin. First time we're saying that to open a segment.
That was a big moment for us.
Yeah, it was, and I'm thrilled. So we got a bunch of things here. We got a bunch of things, and I mean a bunch of things, Doug.
How many things we have?
Bunch.
Okay.
Michelob Ultra Studios, Gabe Bjarman will be with us at 9 o'clock. Welcome to Georgia Week. So for the first time since this show's been taking texts, and I think that goes back to it might go back to the morning grind, but certainly we at least in my memory, we were taking texts above the sex shop. I'm virtually certain that's 1380 in 2007, 8, 9, and part of 2010. The text inbox crashed because we were getting so many texts. Oh. Jackson came in during the break, and Jackson, you tell the people what was going on.
Yeah, so right when law firm was guessed, and then St. Louis local law firm. About 7:56 a.m. till 7:58 a.m. We've got probably about 250 different texters, probably texting in several times. So a ridiculous volume of texts coming in all at once, which kind of crashed our system and delayed it. So up until about 8:10, we were still getting texts
saying Brown and Krupin.
Saying Brown and Krupin from 7:57. So I mean, I could scroll forever and still see texts saying Brown and Krupin, Brown and Krupin, Brown and Krupin from like 7:57.
People reaching out to me privately. And emailing me and DMing me because they were like, how or my text not coming in? I didn't know that there was a delay. But then as I saw so many coming in, I'm like, okay, there must be not a delay, but the text inbox can only, I mean, holy crap, look how many came in at 7:57. I'm still scrolling. Yeah. So anyway, tip of the cap to the audience. And tip of the cap to the audience for guessing it. Yeah. Tip of the cap to the audience for supporting the sponsors on this show so passionately and loyally over the last 2 decades that when Ryan Kelly had to, this was the last thing that he was still sponsoring, and had to vacate the sponsorship, and I guess that was announced in early October, if memory serves, because Brown and Krupin jumped on it right away. That there was that much bidding, I guess, if you want to call it that, and they jumped on it right away. And it's exciting for us to have that be the case, but it's a tip of the cap to the audience who supports this show so passionately and is so engaged, is the word that Terry Krupin used, which he's exactly right, that people, for a stupid-ass show that's in a closet right next to a restroom, with one of the members of the show just making his glorious return as we speak.
I was talking to a new sponsor.
There you go. That people want to be a part of it that much. So thank you, and that's the name of the game. That's why the support the sponsors thing is as passionately talked about on the show, because essentially it's all that really matters.
Well, it's a perfect title sponsor. Everybody knows Terry Krupin in St. Louis. I think everybody does. And they're getting to know his son, Andy, who's been around now for a while, and Ed also. And at some point, everybody needs legal help at some point. And now you're going to get to know them better as they come on and off our show on I guess, a weekly basis. So it's a perfect partnership.
How about this? My mother, from the 830 Recreator, my mother works for them. They have taken care of her through her health scare through the years. They really are great guys. I even walked with Terry at a juvenile diabetes walk. Really good people. And this is from Mr. Licks. It's weird having super intelligent people on this show besides Tim. That's from Mr. Licks, Doug. It's such an accurate.
Okay.
Is Terry Krupin the Shrewsbury butter squirrel? That's from Gummy. I didn't get a chance to ask him that while he was here.
Don't believe so. He's from the city.
That's why I was disguising his voice, because people would know his voice.
Right.
As a butter squirrel.
I mean, he's one guy in St. Louis that everybody in St. Louis knows. You know, when you advertise a lot and you've been in the city and you worked here for as many years as he has, you just get to a point to where everybody knows you, and they do know Terry Krupin, and it's great to have him aboard.
Jackson, what was the math on the number of texts?
I would say it was probably about 215 different texters, but people were texting him multiple times. I'd give a rough estimate from about 250 to 300, give or take.
Per minute?
Yes.
And the first guy that got through was who, to guess it?
Brad from the YouTube
Brad!
channel.
Brad from the YouTube channel.
First to read it, but there were probably 150 people who texted at 7:55, but it just got delayed in the text.
So it was a tie for first?
Yeah,
tied for first.
Yeah. So we had, the text inboxes never faced that level of volume.
And their office is right down there by you on the hill. You can check up on them there.
If I walk outside, I can pretty much see it.
Really?
Yep. All right. Super cool. Great to have them. I had an Adriana sandwich on Saturday.
I like the Nana special. That's what I get. But maybe we got to get that sloppy Giuseppe per Ed.
It's unbelievable. I tried getting the Nana on Saturday, but they were so busy that I went with the meatball.
How'd it treat you?
Outstanding.
How do you do, Doug? How do you do?
I have to order the sloppy Giuseppe just so I can say that. I'll have a sloppy Giuseppe.
It's really good. It's an Italian sloppy Joe. It's perfect.
Let's see what we got. Licks, as an insurance fraud specialist, I bet you engage Brown and Krupin all the time, you loser. That's from the Worse and Woods Wacko.
Oh, gosh.
I really thought Brooklyn and Sheets was going to make that buy. That's from Larry Thornton, Doug.
They supported us for a while there. It was just hard to get people to fly to New York to buy their linens. It's not an easy ask.
It is difficult, but we are thrilled to have a new title sponsor here on the program, Brown and Krupin, presenting TMA. We talk about local restaurants, as we were just doing. One is Andrea's, and how do you do at Andrea's Steakhouse? Andrea's Steakhouse off of Collinsville Road in O'Fallon, Illinois, and online at andreas.com. It's where you can get the barbecue sauce, it's where you get the steak sauce, and you can get it at Schnucks and Deerberg's. What a meal, what a dining experience. I can't wait to get there, Iggy. You are a seasoned veteran of Andrea's. It's Andrea's Steakhouse, and man, do I love that barbecue sauce. I eat it damn near every day. I just sop it on my chicken. I just sop it on my chicken-deedle-dee is what I do.
Do you?
I sop it. No, it's Andrea's. Okay. Online at andreas.com, that barbecue sauce and steak sauce available. At Schnucks and Deerberg's as well. Jackson, tell the people about the Circa Millions and Circa and the new app that is available in Illinois.
If you could.
Yeah, Circa Sports app is now available in Illinois. So if you live here in St. Louis, super easy. Just drive across the river. Doesn't take too long. Or if you already live in Illinois, it's easy enough. You just sign up for the Circa Sports app, and now you're starting to bet like a pro. Of course, Circa is the world's largest sports book located in Las Vegas, but now it's in Illinois. The Circa Sports app is sports betting the way it should be, with big app bets, high betting limits, tight money line splits, and the best customer service. And of course, the Circa Sports app is now available in Illinois. So visit circasports.com for more details and get ready to start betting like a pro. If you or someone you know may have a problem with gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER or text ILGAMB to 833-234.
Doug, I continue to struggle in the Circa Millions. Jackson, you want to guess which teams I was on yesterday? Jackson knows my strategies on this, so he may be able to guess it.
Commanders.
That is correct.
You were probably on the Broncos at home.
That is correct.
You were probably on Green Bay at home.
No, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry.
It was a sucker bet I got screwed into.
You took the Packers?
Yeah, +1. I bought the half point.
Packers this year.
I took the half point.
You're selling your Packer stock, Plowhawk?
I'm fine with a rebuild. Stuff like that.
You can't bet over-unders, right?
That is correct. In the Circa Millions, you can't.
Okay, because it was all under season yesterday.
A lot of people were betting unders?
I was. Yeah, for sure.
Boy, there were some super
windy
high
and
games.
wet. Yeah. Were you on? You weren't on the Steelers at home, were you?
I was not. You've gotten the Commanders. You've gotten
the Texans
the Broncos.
-3?
Nope. I will wrap it up and land the plane. The Colts, Brian Henson's team, and the Commanders. So that 0-2 there was on the Broncos, 1-2, and on the Chargers. And I literally just scrolled down to see that the Chargers won now. So that's nice. 2-2, and I guess I have one of the games tonight. I'm on the Lions, which is super chalky, but yeah, rarely do I take a favorite that's a touchdown plus favorite. But I don't know. That's what my little system that's leading me nowhere. So I was close on. I mean, the Colts were leading and the Commanders were leading, but they gave up 28 points in the second half. What in the hell?
Yeah, I thought the Commanders were for sure going to cover, and brutal.
That doesn't matter. I'm not even close. Anyway, Lions is my final play tonight, but it's not like I know what the hell I'm doing. I think I'm below 500. Lions are currently -7.5. The line for Missouri and Georgia. Talking it over at the Colonel here in a little bit. 16, Doug. If you had to bet it right now, and I know you're going to collect some information and you have an algorithm, who would you take? Be honest with the people, because I know you will.
I'm going to say the Tigers will surprise some people and get within 16 of Georgia.
There you go. Plowhawk?
I think they'll cover.
Nice.
I think it'll be a 13-point win for the Georgia Bulldogs.
You think it's going to be a high-scoring game? You think Missouri's going to get shut down and it's going to be like 17-6, something like that?
I think Georgia's going to put a 40-piece up.
A 40-piece?
That means Missouri's going to score 27-ish?
Yeah. I can see both of those things happening. I think if you get within 13 points, you win out, finish 10-2. Very respectable.
There can be no moral victories at this point, though.
None. No, a loss is a loss. I absolutely get it. But it would feel a little better than a 40-6 beat down.
Yeah, tub thumping.
Could you go into those next 3 games going, can we beat Tennessee? And there a chance we could lose to Arkansas?
I know people want to hear what Ken Strode thinks. He won money from KG in O-Town. by picking the LSU Tigers. The LSU Tigers are revived. I was talking with the Colonel a couple weeks ago saying I could see a scenario where LSU still gets in the college football playoff, and he laughed at me is what he did. But LSU is now back in the mix for the college football playoff, courtesy in part because of the Rock Chalk Jayhawk. Iggy, you're the one that people are paying attention to. Georgia minus 16 between the hedges, 2:30 on CBS.
Well, they should pay attention to me.
Shut that off.
Well, it depends on how you look at it. If you consider K-State a good team, which they've shown they're really not.
K-State's taking shrapnel. Doug, they just got into the top 25.
I mean, Missouri's played one good team all year, and they lost. But they played LSU close.
Kentucky is pretty good. When
I just... not really. I mean, look at them.
Doug, look at them.
I just think they haven't played a team this big, this fast, this good on both sides of the ball.
Well, no one has until he played Georgia.
And that's where they're playing. So I think they cover. I think.
You think Missouri covers?
No, I think Georgia wins by at least 21.
Well.
You're not rooting for that to happen, are you?
No, I hope they win.
You hope Missouri wins?
I hope Missouri wins, yeah.
All right. That's progress.
You're over rooting for them to lose so Drinkwitz gets canned.
Yeah, I mean, they're having a good year. And I think Drinkwitz is doing what he was paid to do, and that's just coach his players. He's even said, he goes,
that's what he's paid to do.
Now that I don't have to call plays or worry about that, I just worry about firing the guys
There is
up.
a distinct difference with an offensive coordinator.
Yeah, he said, all I do now is I just worry about firing my guys up.
Jackson, what do you got?
I'm seeing plus 525 on the money line. That's where I'm at.
Ah, he's going money line.
Yeah.
He's taking the Tigers straight up.
That's right.
Really?
Maybe KG will make that bet again. You want to take Mizzou straight up? I'll take Georgia straight up.
KG, no time the action's back on you.
Oh, you're talking about KG. Got it. No, I was about to say I'll take 5-1 on my money if you want to make that bet.
John Mardukas isn't happy with Iggy. Bro, K-State looks pretty good this year. It's John Mardukas.
What do you say to Dukesy?
They haven't looked that great.
They are back in the top 25.
I'll tell you what, I thought it was pretty damn cool seeing Kansas carry the goalpost to the lake and throw it in.
Yeah, I like that.
I
thought
am telling you,
I
you can hate Kansas with all the intensity of an arch rival if you want, but if you are carrying the dream of Missouri playing for the national championship, which I think even the hardest of hardcore Missouri fans acknowledges, it's like a 1 in probably 30. I guess that is kind of the math. They were plus 30,000 to win the national championship before this Saturday. That you needed Oklahoma to lose. You needed Oklahoma, Florida State, or Washington to lose. And plus, Jackson and I, if you bet the lines that we were on Balloon Party of taking Wisconsin in the points against Ohio State, you liked Cal in the points against USC, and Kansas. The Colonel was on that one, so I bet that. So I bet all three money line, and I also bet with the points that all of those covered, all three covered. And you needed Oklahoma to lose. You needed Oklahoma to lose because there was a scenario in which Missouri could theoretically win out. Again, I don't think anybody is going. It's expected. But if they were to win out, that they could theoretically be left out if Oklahoma, Florida State, Washington, and Michigan were all undefeated, or Ohio State at this point. But that now eliminates that. Oklahoma's not eliminated, but it just it clears the way that now, without question, Missouri controls its own destiny. Gabe wrote about that yesterday. Jackson, percentage that because you're betting the money line, so you're getting 5-1, which means theoretically you could give it a 21% chance, and you're profitable if you're running that math. Percentage Missouri wins between the hedges on Saturday.
25%.
Okay. Doug, what percentage are you going?
I don't think it's quite that high. I think it's maybe 15%.
Yep. Plowhawk.
Percent chance of Mizzou winning?
Yeah.
Give it at the 18. I'm sticking
He went
with
right
18.
between them. Iggy, what are you going with? I think he's going single digits. That's what I think.
Yeah, 5%.
You son of a sack ass.
Which is probably accurate in terms of 5%.
Here's the thing, and I think that this is something, Doug. We're gonna build a bridge where we're all going to agree, and then we're going to have a daisy chain on the bridge. If the Missouri team that played against LSU in the first quarter, or in the final three quarters against Kentucky, or in the first half against South Carolina, shows up at Athens, they can win. And I think even Georgia fans would agree with that. They legitimately can. But if the team that played Middle Tennessee State, if the team that played in the third quarter against LSU, if the team that played in the first quarter against Kentucky, I think that was their worst quarter, actually, and to an extent the second half against South Carolina, even though I get that they were kind of just at that point grinding clock and just trying to get out of there with a win, they're going to lose and lose by a comfortable margin. It's just a matter of how they handle going up against that team in that setting. And at the same time, you can kind of say something similar with regards to Georgia. Georgia was losing 14-3 to a bad South Carolina team. Now, when they played South Carolina's offensive line wasn't in the shape that it's in now or the shape that it was in this past Saturday against Texas A&M. And it's the same team that had to battle against Auburn, and Auburn is not a great team this year. So you've seen Georgia look like a pedestrian team. But at the same time, the two times they've played against a quote-unquote top 25 team, even though these teams aren't in the top 25 right now, Kentucky and Florida, they absolutely stomped them. That game Saturday was not as close as the score looked. What was the final, like 43-20 or something like that? I mean, it could have been...
Georgia beat that ass.
Yeah, and it was obvious in the first half. You're going, I guess these 2:30 games, I was all over Utah. So, tip of the cap to Oregon, because to me, unless I'm missing one, I think Oregon's win is the most impressive win so far this year for a team going on the road and beating what was at the top time a top 15 team. And maybe I'm missing an obvious one. It's possible. It's absolutely possible. But they beat the hell out of them. Ohio State won at Notre Dame. I think people are starting to realize Notre Dame's a really good team this year, but they're sitting there with 2 losses. But Ohio State's win at Notre Dame, Ohio State won at Wisconsin, and they also beat Penn State. I feel like Ohio State might not be getting the attention Michigan is, and I guess it's because their offense takes you back to like the Ravens days. But they got Travion Henderson back this past Saturday, and he makes a world of difference. And they may have the Heisman Trophy winner with Marvin Harrison Jr. So Washington, meanwhile, the team that was the hype of all September, nearly lost this past Saturday again to another crap team. They nearly lost 2 weeks ago to Arizona State, and they nearly lost this past Saturday at Stanford. So Washington is trending down, even though they're still undefeated. I don't know that Georgia will be number 1 tomorrow night when the committee has their first rankings. I think you can make a case for Ohio State being number 1, actually.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at strength of schedule and resume, there's probably 1 or 2 teams that have a better resume than Georgia.
I think when a team wins back-to-back national titles and they're still undefeated, they're going to be number 1.
It depends. It'll show you what the priorities are. Are you prioritizing wins? Are you prioritizing how a team wins? Because Ohio State, I'm sure most Notre Dame fans are like, oh my God, we should have never lost that game. And had we not lost that game, we're in the national championship conversation. And a dangerous team as well, because they have a pretty good defense themselves. But at 2 losses and not the kind of strength of schedule that LSU still has remaining, because LSU gets to go to Tuscaloosa, and then they would most likely play Georgia in the SEC championship. LSU can right that ship and say, well, we lost to Florida State, a team that's in the college football playoff, and we lost by 3 in the final seconds at Oxford. That's it. So LSU, to me, is absolutely alive. But now, point is, everybody in the SEC controls their own destiny, including Missouri. So, Doug, win.
Yeah, Mizzou would have to play a near-perfect game. You got to avoid stupid penalties, the late hit penalties, the false snap penalties. Got to avoid that.
You just put Connor Towson on notice.
Obviously, the fumbles and the interceptions. You can't have many of those. And then they got to get some breaks also along the line, and they could do it. It's not impossible for them to win.
How many
the
fake
idea of
punts,
Kansas beating Oklahoma, you don't have to go back very many years before the idea of Kansas beating Oklahoma would have been like Missouri State beating Alabama.
The last time Kansas won against a top 10 team was 1984, and that was the Troy Aikman quarterbacked Oklahoma Sooners. That was before he even went to UCLA.
Yeah.
Circling back, how many Kansas State games does Iggy watch? Thanks, that's a birthday hawk. They can't get past Iggy in Kansas State.
Maybe 3.
Really? You watch a lot of Wildcat football?
Saturday, I just go back and forth. I mean, every game is on YouTube TV.
Are they?
I mean, they're everywhere. All the ESPNs
and all free?
SEC and the ACC network, and yeah.
You don't have to subscribe to anything to see all those games?
No, because it's got all the channels that carry these games. ACC network, Big Ten network, Southeastern Conference network. CBS, ESPN, Fox, they were all on. I'll tell you, even though Bo Nix was outplayed a little bit by Penix and they lost that game, Oregon's the best team I've seen all year, even with one loss.
Taking Oregon over the Bulldogs and the Wolverines
I
and
mean,
the Buckeyes?
They are good. They probably should have won that Washington game, but Oregon is
I think that's the most impressive win this year is what they did to Utah. I mean, in that place, Utah had won 29-30 at home. I mean, it doesn't get attention because it's Utah, but they're the back-to-back Pac-12 champions.
Yeah.
That was a skull-effing. That was an eye-opening skull-effing. Usually I'm kind of in the range on outcomes on college football, within points anyway, but that one I didn't see coming. That was a very impressive win. It's the kind of win, if things are up for grabs for the one-loss team, that would put them over the top. Now, if they win the Pac-12 and they, get their vengeance on losing in Seattle to Washington, I think they're in because of the depth of the Pac-12 at the top.
Yeah.
But that win in Utah, that's the one that they just sent a real message. And Washington has to play against your boy this weekend, Caleb Williams.
Yeah, they sucked one out Saturday.
Yeah, against Cal. I had Kansas money line, I had Cal money line, and I had Wisconsin money line, and it would have been fun to have I didn't put 100 on it, Jackson, because we talked about it. It paid $1,500 if you put 100 on it. They put 25 on it, so it would have paid $375. And I'm like, ooh, I might have a little sweat tonight. I might have to do some. I could put 100 on Ohio State, but the issue is Ohio State was probably like minus 400 or 500 on the money line, so I couldn't really balance that out and get proper profit.
Oh, so I didn't put in that money line bet, but if I did and Cal would have won that game, which they lost by 1, I would have been rooting so hard for Ohio State so that bet didn't hit.
Oh, because then we don't have left money on the table. I just put 25 on it.
So much. I actually bet Cal first half money line and got paid. So.
Oh, look at you. Sharp. The one that I was on 2 for the 11 o'clock games, and that's all I took, and that was Kansas, Oklahoma over, which probably looked like it was a sure thing, but it required Kansas getting that 4th down conversion. I'll tell you, Oklahoma had a guy in the secondary, I think it was a corner, drop. I mean, I would imagine Oklahoma fans know about it. It's not getting talked about much. He dropped an interception that ends the game. I mean, it was right in his hands, and that may have cost them a chance for the national championship. If it were a local player, it would be getting a lot of attention, but it was a random Oklahoma member of the secondary, and that ended their season. Probably ended their season. And I took South Carolina plus 17 against A&M. That struck me as way too high of a number for what Texas A&M is and for the way they play. And the Kansas-Oklahoma over. And then the other one that I bet was Wisconsin as far as the non-parlay thing. Wisconsin plus 14.5, which won by a half. Doug, you call it the hook, 14 and a hay?
I call it the hook, 14 and a hay, yeah.
Coach Prime's team looked good again Saturday.
Well, you are down on this Deion Sanders.
No, I love Deion Sanders. I think he's great for football. I just didn't understand everybody jumping on the bandwagon, calling him Coach of the Year after they won their first game. I don't know nothing they did in the second half. I mean, they couldn't come up with a way to stop the defensive line. I mean, they gave up like 10 sacks. I mean, Sanders had at least 1 second to throw the ball every time he dropped back.
That's not a lot.
I think they rushed the ball 11 times for 6 yards. So, and the thing that I didn't like, and I don't mind the showboating. I don't mind Sanders when they won the game showing his watch. I mean, that's just him. That's what his dad did. That's what he's doing. The gold chains. I love it. But when his son, I'm not going to say it was a dirty hit, but he lowered his helmet and just smashed the guy. And as he fell to the ground and a flag went flying right in front of him, he's standing in front of the flag with his hands up doing, ha! I just smashed him. There's a flag right in front of you. You see it. You went helmet to helmet. You got kicked out of the game. Got him. And that's uncalled for.
It looked like a clean hit to me.
Oh, his helmet went right in the side of his helmet.
Boots, did you see that K-State offensive lineman destroy the linebacker from Houston? What are your thoughts on that block? That's from John Mardukas. He's back again on this K-State.
Didn't see the game Saturday. Didn't watch that one. Sorry.
Did you watch any of the Bears game? Holy smokes, are they awful.
They're terrible.
They got a guy starting at quarterback who is an undrafted Division II player.
Shepherd University.
Yeah, Tyson
Baguette.
Yeah. And he
didn't play bad the week before.
No, he threw one pass to a guy wide open in the end zone. The guy is wide open, falls flat on his back. As he's on his back, the ball hits him right in the stomach, and he still dropped it.
Guys, can we get a Manning cast style setup next college football season with Ken, Plowsy, and Larry Nickel? Maybe throw in Jackson just to have an adult in the room. I'd love to watch a college football show with ER blaring in the background the whole day. Doug, that's from Arbor Day with a programming idea.
Yeah, not bad. Not bad. You guys up for that?
Like the whole slate?
No.
Like
From 11 a.m. to
Like
1:30 on the Pac-12?
Yeah, no thanks.
I don't even know if I'm interested in a one-game package.
College football
This is
games would
lucrative.
take forever. Man.
Yeah.
Holy mackerel.
It's a little quicker this year. That Oregon game was over pretty early on. And I'm not even talking about just mathematically.
The Oklahoma-Kansas game was delayed, right? That was a
Yes,
delay. Okay.
I was actually watching that live.
Got it.
She's standing up and down cheering for Kansas. Couldn't have been more happy about it. That was the thing in 2007. Missouri needed Kansas to be undefeated. Sometimes it works to your benefit. I mean, if a Missouri fan, I'm sure plenty of Missouri fans were cheering against Kansas, but God, if you want it to happen, you need these teams to go by the wayside. I was a big Arizona State fan last Saturday night when they nearly beat Washington. This stuff needs to happen. I was a Wake fan this weekend with Florida State. It's just fun to go into the month of November being able to tell yourself there's a chance, even though you realize not only do you have to beat Georgia in Athens and end the 25-game winning streak? Is that what it is now?
I think now it's
that they've
24.
won 24, so it would be a 25-game winning streak. And then still beat Tennessee
and Florida.
Doesn't matter, Tim. Line them up and we'll knock them down.
And then roll damn Tide or
probably LSU.
LSU. I love LSU this weekend.
Me too.
I love LSU so much that I loved them like I love Utah this past weekend. So that tells you about my love. But LSU's getting 6?
Yeah.
God, that just strikes me as so obvious.
Like an offense that can tear up any defense in the country.
Oh, I see it at 3 now, Jackson.
I saw it at 6 when it opened.
I saw it at 6 too. Yeah, it's down to 3.
Well,
crap.
We're PD Public now.
I don't know if that's money. Usually the money waits on dogs.
Right.
But they get in on favorites.
Oh, all the money is on LSU plus 3.5 now.
Tim, you are delusional to think Mizzou has a chance. That's fine.
Stop it.
Nice.
That's crazy talk.
Yeah, I got paid on the 6.5. Don't even have a sweat, and it's October. The over on that.
Yep.
A lot of talk on that back in the day. I haven't heard much about that.
Nope, exactly. And
it's amazing. But if they would have won 6 games,
I
imagine.
thought everybody thought that was a great bet. 6.5. You looked at their schedule and think, God, there's at least 7 wins in there.
Whatever. I make bets and I win. I make bets and I lose. Yes.
Bets.
Thank you. Maureen, let Ken cook with this football recap. I missed all of the games this weekend with all of the trips I made to Kohl's for seasonal turtlenecks. The 6 for $9.99 deal was unbeatable. That's from glove blogger Tom Traven.
How much is a good turtleneck now?
Boy, I just never lived down buying turtlenecks. Jesus Christ.
Crestfallen. I didn't mean to get you crestfallen.
I didn't see that one coming.
I just wondered how much a decent turtleneck costs.
More personal than we know.
Kohl's has fairly decent turtlenecks for like $11.99.
Really?
On sale.
All right.
Doug, as you know, we live in an era in which you do a show and you say something, you give a take, and you think, oh, maybe you'll catch hell from like a dog avatar on the Twitter tweets or on a message board.
Sure.
Nope, these days it goes right to the head coach, and he's not happy about it. Here is Steve Smith on College Game Day, the former Panthers wide receiver who
I saw him.
emblazoned Jason Sehorn's jockstrap into the 45-yard line at the Dome. Still there.
Look, Clemson has been struggling. They're not the Clemson we've loved over the years. But NC State, unfortunately, they're waiting for basketball to start.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Well, I was watching that live. Didn't really think much of it. But Dave Doran, the head coach of North Carolina State, did not like it. Take a listen.
Okay.
Tell Steve Smith in the studio this ain't a basketball school. He can kiss my ass.
Oh!
Yeah, for a guy that lives in Charlotte, he clearly's got his head faced west to Utah all the time, which, I understand. And no disrespect to him, but he disrespected our program, and I'm not going to let people do that. These kids have worked their butt off. We've won a lot of football games here, and in my tenure, I think we're second or third in the ACC in wins in football. So, he can take that and put it where it belongs. But this is not a basketball school. This is a great, great school. It has great sports, and football is one of them. And so, yeah, if he wants to come see me, we can talk about that. But, do your homework before you start talking shit.
Oh, God.
Finally,
Dave
somebody puts
Doran.
these former athletes in their place. I love it.
What a college game day, boy. You can't say anything on that show without somebody.
It's bulletin board material.
It's in every coach show.
Well, it wasn't limited, though, to Dave Doran. Remember, Doug, and you were always saying last year you thought Georgia was a 1 or 2 win team.
I thought so, yeah.
Now, they were number 1 throughout the course of the year, but Kirby Smart correctly said after they beat TCU, they edged TCU in the championship game, that they had been disrespected all season long. And he's doing it again, like the KC95 commercial from the 1980s. This time he goes after Dan Mullen, the former Florida coach, former Mississippi State coach, who predicted Florida will win the Georgia-Florida game in Jacksonville. Here's Kirby Smart.
Oh. And I don't see it or hear it, but I know it's out there. Somebody texted me before the game. It's like all these people predicting that we're not gonna, we're not gonna win today. And I'm just like, golly. Where's that coming from? It's supposed to be my friend. He didn't like to recruit those suds.
Well, you expect a coach to predict his team will lose a game?
Did anyone
should know better than
did
that.
anyone have Florida covering the spread? Let
The
alone
Florida
winning?
coach?
He's not the coach anymore, though.
Oh.
That's Billy Napier.
Billy Napier
Oh,
will
that's
be heading to Columbia, Missouri here in a couple weeks.
Dan Mullen was fired after he lost to Missouri.
But he did say he
That is
got a
correct.
text saying, I got a text saying all these people are picking Florida. You had one guy.
No one was picking Florida in that game. No one.
Well, what's a joke to one guy on TV, like Steve Smith, is a joke to 98% of the people in the country, and then the small percentage of North Carolina State people affected by it, they don't think it's very funny.
The thing about it is it's something that works. You get in this case, kids, if you want to call 18 to 22-year-olds that, if you're trying to get from a motivation, you find something, and you go, well, Kirby Smart claims that they were disrespected all year at Georgia. All right, we're going to find something. And so you saw the thing with Ryan Day getting mad at Lou Holtz, and you saw the thing at the head coach at Washington State getting mad at Lee Corso. Dave Doran now at NC State. Kirby Smart's still doing it because Dan Mullen picked Florida to win the game. And then he takes a shot at how he doesn't like to recruit.
How dare you?
Brian Henson says college football is becoming the WWE. Everybody's cutting a promo.
I'm telling you, man. It's so weird.
It's close.
But hey, I guess if anything to motivate your team, you got to do it.
Yeah, he's
Sometimes you just have better players.
What?
It's not necessarily because somebody said something about you. Sometimes you're just superior athletically. But it makes for a good show, I know. And the networks don't want analysts who get on there and say nothing. They want colorful people.
Yeah, if I was Dave Doran, I might tread lightly with the whole Steve Smith can come talk to me. Steve Smith is an animal.
Well, he didn't say I'll fight him.
He's made a lot of claims.
You know what I'm a fan of? My ball gag and that bent over crabbing bitch while I'm thrusting so hard.
Where's this
Side
coming
note, ILL, #1 in the country men's basketball. That's recovering alcoholic from Belleville and Webster Grove.
Yeah,
Number one?
Exhibition or not, we took down Kansas last night. I watched every bit of that game.
What was the score?
I think we won by 7 or 8. Hunter Dickinson is winless in his career in college basketball against the University of Illinois in Champaign.
So Illinois got a really good team this year?
I think they're a lot better set up than they were last year. Not a lot of stars, but very much so a lot of depth, which helps in the Big Ten. So I mean, it's an exhibition, but Kansas played all their starters. Kansas played every player they were going to play in a regular season game.
Probably better off
As
having
did
a
Illinois.
lot of really good players play as a team than rely on one superstar who might get hurt or
100%.
foul out.
And Bill Self deserves his name in the rafters. I hope that happens soon.
What do you
He's
mean
the
by
I think
that?
it was first time returning to.
Oh, since he left after when he left after 2003, right?
I think so. I don't have any bad.
Was that his
blood.
last game?
Yeah, I love me some Bill Self, and he deserves to be recognized in Champaign. Hopefully, sometime soon.
Doug, who is the last team Bill Self coached against as head coach of the University of Illinois? I think I know this. This isn't from a place of certainty.
It's obviously in the tournament, right?
Talk about the tournament. Oh,
I can't
have a
remember that
clue?
tournament.
Initials ND.
ND. North Dakota was in the tournament?
No, they didn't get in that year.
Mike Bray.
New Dexico? No.
Got an online program?
Yeah.
That's where I'm going to get my final 8 hours in New Mexico.
Rube.
Yeah.
Just
Are we
say
still
no-
guessing?
just say Notre Dame.
Oh, Notre Dame. Yeah.
Biggie's put up with your bit. I believe 2003 NCAA tournament because Missouri was at the same place taking on Marquette in Dwayne Wade.
Yeah, I remember doing the group interview with Bill Self.
Oh, we both went to Indianapolis? Wow, look at the coverage. Can you imagine
I did at
television
some point.
stations sending two people to cover a sports
then
story?
it must not have been that year because there was one year where I interviewed Bill Self a couple times with the Illini. I don't know what.
But maybe his last year was 2004. I thought Roy Williams left after they lost to Syracuse in Carmelo in 2003. Was that Jerry McNamara?
I can't keep it straight.
Oh, he left right after that.
And then went to coach North Carolina because Bad Doherty had a bad run at North Carolina.
Found out what it's like replacing a legend.
Got to coach
Bill Guthridge.
Be the next guy. Yeah.
Mentality is
Two or
FDA
three
approved.
down the road.
Testosterone treatment. Board certified physicians who work with most insurance. Low energy, low motivation, weight gain, muscle loss. You're tired all the time. Well, that's low testosterone. It can be anyway. Those are the symptoms of low testosterone. So Mentality is a local healthcare facility specifically dedicated to helping men feel and perform at their very best. Just go get tested. I got tested. It was super easy and super helpful to have that information. The normal range for testosterone is large. If you've been to a doctor and they told you that you were normal without understanding the range or testing your free testosterone, it was not fully looked at. Come get checked with Mentality online at lowtusa.com. Michelob Ultra studio sponsor here on TMA. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbohydrates. And you will be able to enjoy Michelob Ultra and all the AB products on November 11th at St. Gabriel's for Trivia Night. TMASTL.com is where you can sign up to get one ticket or a whole table if you would like. Plus, you'll get Salt and Smoke, all of your beer and all of your Salt and Smoke for $45 plus Trivia Night. That's right. It's taking place at St. Gabriel's on November 11th. Doors open at 6:30. Trivia at 7:30. Doug, I have been saying 7, but 7:30 will allow people to fatten up a little longer.
Right. For the slaughter.
TMASTL.com. That's TMASTL.com, where you can go get your tickets for Trivia Night. Guys, Bill Guthridge went to K-State. What's the obsession with K-State today? It's from John Mardukas. He's back. Bill Guthridge went to K-State?
I don't remember. I just don't.
Chill, bro. It was an exhibition. That's from the Todd Reesing to the Plowhawk.
Come on, chill,
I think
bro.
I said exhibition 5 times, but screw it.
Hey, I'm sure Kansas is still trying.
Well, they're trying to cheat.
Oh.
Definitely.
All the shade thrown at Pepper and Jeannie's podcast seemed to have the opposite effect. They decided to just shut it down rather than get better. And for that, I'm thankful. That's from Mr. Licks. What's that got to do with anything? I don't follow.
I don't know. We're just waiting for our father-in-law to hand us a big check, too, homies.
Oh! Plowhawk is loaded for bear.
Some of us have to be more patient than others, being a stay-at-home dad.
Mr. Mom.
I
Michael
think that's
Keaton.
what he is.
Schooner tuna people.
It's more logical that he's that than calling in from a Chick-fil-A at 9 a.m. thinking he's a big businessman. It's hard for me hearing his big Amazon truck back up to a house as he's making a take.
Oh.
It's hard for me to think that that's a finance guy.
You think? Are you saying a lot of business does not get done at Chick-fil-A?
Not in the drive-thru at 9 a.m. Typically, you're in the office.
Yeah.
Or making deals, not calling into HD2. I'd like to see what the stat is for millionaires and HD2 radio call-ins.
What do you think the range is, the ratio?
Like
I'm
how
sure we
many?
have
If there
some.
more than one, is he the only one?
There's a lot of people that have $1 million nowadays. Older.
Oh wow, blessed.
Well,
I'm kidding.
inflation being what it is, like Biff calls in.
Yeah, that's true. There too. Yeah, you're right. Doug, you got it.
Yeah, I don't know who else, but nowadays, if you don't have about $1 million to retire on, you're going to probably have to continue to work right on.
More than that, I think I read an article. It's up in that 1.3, 1.4 range.
Yeah.
Depending on, how old you are at the time, what your expenses are too. I guess it varies.
But you'd struggle at probably 60 if you had $1 million to retire on.
Well, you
you might
wouldn't be able to do
still
it then.
struggle, assuming you live to 85 or so.
Plowboy. I have that. That's from the Warson Woods Whack.
Oh, there's another one.
Okay. I love him, though. I guess I believe it because he does take me out to the groundskeeper pour day.
That's what they call it. They literally say, welcome to today's groundskeeper pour day.
They don't have it like signs, but all the members basically give you that look that, it's one of those days.
Did he introduce you as a fella he saved from the no-kill moron shelter?
He didn't, but I imagine next time I play with him, he will, because I do believe he liked that. That's
the No-Kill Moron Shelter? Yeah, that's a T-shirt waiting to happen. James Carlton presents Gabe DeArmond every Monday here on TMA and every Friday on Balloon Party. Gabe joins us next as we close out the 8 o'clock hour of TMA, presented to you by Brown and Krupin.
TMA presents their second ever trivia night, November 11th at Tim's alma mater, St. Gabe's, starting at 7:30 p.m. A little different than last year. Not just TMA trivia, all trivia, sports, entertainment, STL-centric, and a few rounds of TMA trivia thrown in for good measure. And it's hosted by Tim, Doug, Iggy, Plowsy, Action Jackson, and whoever else is on the show. You can purchase single tickets, tables of 8, or anything in between. Tickets are on sale now and are $45 a person. A portion of the proceeds from the event will go to St. Gabe's. Tickets include food from Salt and Smoke and all your Anheuser-Busch beer. But feel free to bring your own food and drink too. Another TMA Trivia Night, November 11th. Get more info and find out how to buy tickets at tmastl.com.
Biggie's Restaurant and Bar has been a staple of the community for over 30 years and is serving your favorites like the steak sandwich, waffle fries, and so much more. It's not just the food that's rocking. With a full bar and patio, Biggie's is the perfect spot for lunch, dinner, and a little laughter. Biggie's original hours are back. Open 11 a.m. till midnight, Wednesday, Thursday, and Sunday. And 11 a.m. till 1 a.m. on Friday and Saturday. Check out the full menu at biggiesrestaurant.com and stop in today.
Hey, this is Tim McKernan, and I am here with a great TMA sponsor, and that is Longo Biggs Injury Law Firm. And you may hear a bunch of out-of-state law firms advertising here and there all over on billboards and so on and so forth. But the thing is, oftentimes their goal is to just settle and move on, and that's not what you guys do.
Yeah, this is CD Longo, and you hear us talking a lot about maximizing the value of cases, but what does that actually mean? Well, as Tim said, there's lots of personal injury lawyers in St. Louis, and everyone handles cases differently. We focus on getting the highest dollar amount for your injuries, not just getting a resolution quickly. We're constantly tracking all the settlements and verdicts in the area. This helps us advise our clients on whether a settlement offer is too low. And if the amount of compensation being offered is too low, we are happy to file lawsuits and proceed to trial to ensure our clients receive an amount that is fair. Visit our website or Google us at Longo Biggs Injury Law.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Hey, this is Joe Buck. We all have people we miss and who we would do anything to see or hear again. Whenever I want to hear my dad's voice, all I have to do is go to YouTube, but most people don't have that luxury. Now with Sound Story, your family's stories can be saved forever. Sound Story is a professionally produced hour-long conversation in which you or one of your loved ones is interviewed by the host of your choice, including TMA's own Tim McKernan, Doug Vaughn, and Jackson Burkett. Hundreds of St. Louisans have already told their stories with Sound Story, and the experience is one they loved.
I think everybody that can do it, they should, for their children, for their grandchildren, because I know I would give anything to hear my parents' voice.
Visit mysoundstory.com today and use promo code TMA for 10% off your Sound Story gift certificate purchase. That's mysoundstory.com. Promo code TMA for 10% off your Sound Story gift certificate purchase. Sound Story. For you, for them, forever.
Okay. Hot takes.
Yeah.
Pepperoncini. Pepperoncini.
And now the Pepperoncini Show with Darren Atkins and Ken Strode. All right, take it, fellas.
There it is. That's the open.
Pepperoncini.
Pepperoncini. Pepperoncini. Pepperoncini. Pepperoncini. Pepperoncini. Pepperoncini. Pepperoncini.
We don't know what it is. We don't understand the name. We just know it's stupid. And it's available every weekday, featuring Iggy and the Plowboy. Apparently it's some kind of a podcast or something. Available at tmastl.com and on the TMASTL mobile app. Whatever.
I'm Tim McKernan here with Action Jackson talking to you about Mark Hanna. TMA listeners have a lot to think through financially, whether it be saving up for their child's education or planning for their own retirement and everything in between.
Whether you're like me and just getting started with your financial planning, or you're already retired, call
call Mark Hanna.
It all starts with a 15-minute phone call to discuss your needs and design the right strategy for you and your future.
Visit evergreenstl.com or give Mark a call at 314-889-0503 today. Mark Hanna offers securities through Equitable Advisors and insurance and annuity products through Equitable Network, LLC.
When we think of a real estate agent, we think of somebody simply selling our home or finding us a new one. I mean, they're all the same, right?
Okay, here's the comps. We'll take some pics, we'll post them, and I'll get back to you, okay?
A home is life-changing, and your real estate agent should reflect that. Honesty, integrity, and someone who will go above and beyond to make your dreams come true.
The Jeff Lotman Group with Compass Realty. We're different because you're different. We want what you want. Experience the difference today at jefflotman.com, bringing people and properties together.
The Illinois Recovery Center is dedicated to providing precise and authentic care to those seeking help and treatment. Whether you've made the life-saving choice to seek help on your own or you want to be prepared for the other end of an addiction intervention with a loved one, the chance to learn about addiction recovery is available to you at the Illinois Recovery Center in Swansea. If you or someone you know wants more information about the Illinois Recovery Center, please call 888-472-9559 or email info@illinoisrecoverycenter.com.
Live from the Michelob Ultra Studios, KPN-TFM HD2, Collinsville, St. Louis. This is TMA All Day. KPN-T HD2, Collinsville, St. Louis.
It's the Brown and Krupin Morning After.
Missouri, which I wrote. There is a state which I live in, which is called Missouri.
Well, you'll hear it on Saturday, Between the Hedges.
This is what they're going to play when Missouri runs out. I'll shake them up down there.
Dude, I think that would be really funny.
I do too.
I'll bring my Beats box, my Bluetooth.
James can play it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because James will be between the hedges
you're gonna
on
be down
Saturday.
there.
That's right.
Well, that'd be great if you were to play that and see all the Georgia fans kind of look at each other like, what?
Gotta
in
be
the
a way
world?
to try and play that. Gotta be.
James Carlton in studio. He's my insurance agent. He's the Plowix insurance agent, and he's online at carltoninsurance.net. And man, does he do a wonderful job, and I'm so happy I made the switch, James. It's a wonderful switch that I made.
Well, thank you, and congrats on the title sponsor.
Thank you so much.
What a great group of guys.
Yeah, Brown and Krupin,
That's
new
awesome.
title sponsor here on TMA, and it crashed the text inbox with the with the number of texts that came in between 7:50 and 8:10. We were still getting, I think it's Brown and Krupin at 8:10, and the announcement was at 7:56. So it's great to have the audience engaged. The audience will be engaged at 9:45 for the Design, Air, Heating, and Cooling email of the day, and then at 10 o'clock, Jackson and I will go down the hallway, and they'll be engaged, just a different kind of engagement at 10 o'clock on Balloon Party, presented to you by Munganess, St. Louis Acura, and Alden Toyota. Ladies and gentlemen, it is our pleasure to welcome to the program, presented every Monday by James Carlton of the Carlton State Farm Insurance Agency, the Colonel, Gabriel P. DeArmond of PowerMizzou.com. Morning, Colonel.
What's up, guys? How you doing?
Well, I imagine you came in here to gloat a little bit about what took place last night.
What's that?
Soccer.
Oh, yeah. Not so much.
Oh,
hold on a second.
Found out that game was happening at like 9:15 last night.
Yeah, and then so you stayed up late to watch?
Found out the result this morning because I do have one friend who likes soccer who told me.
Oh, dog.
you are raining on this city. You really are. Oh, sure, we beat St. Louis. No big deal. Oh, did that go on? I figured we'd beat them.
Look, good for the Wiz. That's what I still call Kansas City soccer team.
Oh, that's right. They were the Wizards, Doug.
Yeah, that's what they were. No, there are not many sporting events you could find that would cause me to gloat less.
Oh, Doug, it doesn't sound like a promo is being cut.
No.
So do you think the win by Sporting KC softened the blow for most Kansas City area sports fans of the loss to the Broncos?
Oh, for sure. It's much more important. If you inform me of the name of anyone who plays for Sporting Kansas City, I'm a much bigger fan of his than Patrick Mahomes.
Oh,
see, there you go.
Are you embarrassed by the name Sporting Kansas City, which I think is the worst name in all of professional sports?
I mean, isn't St. Louis's team named like City Soccer Club or something?
City, yeah. At least it's not sporting.
I'm getting the sense Gabe isn't real invested in soccer. It's Georgia.
Yeah, we're kind of having a pretty meaningless discussion here, right?
Clip that off. We can use that at any time. That is an evergreen drop right there.
Right.
Colonel, welcome to Georgia Week, and just like James Carlton, you are going between the hedges. When's the last time you were between those shrubs?
I think it was 2013.
Oh, that's good news.
I've been back for a game there since then. It's possible I covered one in the interim, but I don't remember it if I did.
Nice. That was an 11 o'clock kick. Georgia was highly ranked at the time. And, of course, not the situation that it will be this time around with a 24-game win streak. Just a real brief aside before we start to getting into what took place over the weekend and looking ahead to this coming Saturday. Do you think when the committee announces their first rankings tomorrow night that Georgia will be number one? Flip that off.
Maybe not, because first of all, these rankings are so dumb. It's clearly just done for TV ratings and let's get people talking. And so for that reason, I could easily see Ohio State or maybe Michigan being number one.
I think I'd bet on Ohio State right now. It's interesting that you're seeing that, too.
Yeah, the only one that matters is obviously the last one. And we learned that the year that, TCU and Baylor played in the Big 12 title game, and the winner was clearly in the top four, and then they just said, we're just going to drop both those teams out because neither one of them ever should have been here. So these rankings don't matter at all. I could see them having Georgia 2 or 3 just to have something different.
Yeah, I think right now, if you're going to base it on what a team has done, Ohio State winning at Notre Dame and winning at home against Penn State, I think is the most impressive of the teams that are undefeated. The win in Wisconsin.
Michigan and Georgia haven't played anybody, but Michigan's beaten everybody by 67 points.
67 points.
That has to count for something. And Georgia they were behind South Carolina 14-3, Auburn 10-0, Florida 7-0, and then just said, I guess we got to try for a little bit, and turned all those games around, and none of them were really in doubt late.
Right.
To me, 25 wins in a row, I think it's 41 of 42. Georgia's number one until they aren't, until somebody goes and knocks them off.
That's Doug. That's your theory as well. Mm-hmm. We were discussing in the previous segment our percentages of likelihood that Missouri actually wins this thing on Saturday. I'm not going to put you on the spot on your prediction yet because I know you do that on Friday on Power Mizzou. But what we I think we were texting about this, and we might have talked about it on the air as well. I mean, what Missouri did in the first quarter against LSU, the final 3 quarters against Kentucky, and the first half against South Carolina, if they play like that against Georgia, and Georgia's not on their A game, Missouri is in the game. I know it might sound ridiculous, and I went to Missouri, so it's biased, but that's a real thing. The issue is if Georgia plays like they did in the first half against Kentucky and really after Florida scored their first touchdown, then I'm not sure what Missouri does would matter as much. But Georgia has had some off games themselves. Missouri has had some off quarters and halves, and the Middle Tennessee State game was brutal. So what kind of specifics would have to happen for Missouri to remain in this game with a chance to spring the upset on a 16-point favorite?
I mean, this game's about Georgia to me. If Georgia plays pretty well, they're going to win. And if Georgia plays an A game, I still think they beat anybody in the country, and they beat everybody except 2 or 3 teams by multiple scores. If Georgia comes out and plays its best game of the year, they're going to cover that 16-point spread, and I'm not sure it matters what Missouri does. But look, I mean, turnovers is always the easy. You can't go lose the turnover battle and win this game. You've got to win it, and you've probably got to win it by 2. I think the biggest thing for Missouri is Georgia's run game is not what it has been. They don't have that first-round running back and just dominating people up front. And so most people might think, well, that's not as important an area. I actually think it's the biggest key for Missouri. I think you consistently need to be putting Georgia in 2nd and 8, 3rd and 7, things like that, and just put them in a situation where, look, you know what they're doing. Now, it's not easy to stop. They've got, even with Brock Bowers out, they have 9 guys that have 100 yards receiving. Not one of them has 400, but it's just, you can't really key in on a guy, but they've got the 4th best passing game in the country, I think. And so, but just put them in a situation where you know they have to throw the ball, and then try to get pressure on Carson Beck. I mean, Missouri mostly was in that game last year because their defensive line was better than Georgia's offensive line. And so I think that's probably the key matchup.
Missouri, and I call them Sporting Missouri, they have pretty much everybody healthy, don't they? I mean, they have the whole roster available.
So far as I know, I mean, we'll find out tomorrow, but, they don't have any like season-ending injuries, and they just had a week off. I would expect everybody to be available for the city of Columbia.
Gabe, last week on your podcast, I really like how you phrased this. If you could give Coach Drinkwitz the circumstances, if you have to play Georgia on the road, but you can dictate the other circumstances, will you go through that process again with our audience? Because I found that pretty interesting to give me a little optimism.
Yeah, I mean, you had a week off. Obviously you're sitting 7-1. Georgia had to go on the road and play a rivalry game. Now, if Drinkwitz could have picked something else, I think he would have picked that Georgia win that game in like 9 overtimes and really had a physical battle against Florida. They didn't. That was mostly over at halftime. But I think, and it's not at night. It's a 2:30 game, 3:30 in Athens. So I think there are things that you look at and you don't say they favor Missouri, but you say, well, this is how Missouri would choose them to be if they had a choice.
You're right about that. That's an interesting option. I was thinking of the sets of circumstances, and you're right. Missouri with the bye week. Florida is in the midst, Georgia's in the midst of this run of Florida, Missouri, Ole Miss, and then at Knoxville. I think we talked about it, Gabe. I didn't like when I saw LSU lose to Ole Miss. I'm like, oh, that's not good. You want essentially this set of circumstances. It's about as optimal as I can get, and as Doug made reference to, the team is apparently, we'll find out tomorrow, but healthy going into it. If it's going to happen, the sets of circumstances align for that possibility to happen. And you also made the observation in your column yesterday morning that with what transpired in Lawrence, which you were on, the Colonel predicted that, Doug.
Did he?
Yeah. That now, if Missouri wins out, Missouri is in the college football playoff. It doesn't mean that it's likely, of course, but now they control their own destiny.
Yeah, they need no help. I mean, they needed Oklahoma to lose a game because unbeaten conference champs were going to get in. There can now only be 3 of those, assuming that, this is all based on Missouri obviously beating Georgia. So only Florida State, the Big Ten champ in Washington, can finish a Power 5 season undefeated. So that means a one-loss SEC team is getting it. If you have one loss and you win the SEC, you are in the playoff. No questions about it. No, well, if this happens or that happens. I mean, the path is now clear. I saw a tweet yesterday that there are like 6 teams that really control their own destiny. I would say maybe it's more than that because I think you have to put Alabama and Ole Miss in that conversation. If those teams win out, they're probably in. Georgia does, Florida State does, Washington does, Michigan and Ohio State do, and I think you could make an argument that Oregon does if they were on the table and
I agree. Yeah.
With one loss.
I agree with that. Yeah, I see what you're saying. I don't think Ole Miss does because if Alabama wins out, Ole Miss is on the outside looking in, though, right?
That's fair. That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, Missouri's one of a handful of teams that's in that spot. I know we texted about the biggest road game in November for Missouri since when, and we really couldn't come up with one as far as a road game in November where both teams are playing for a championship. We're certainly older than we were when we were chasing ass down in Columbia, like Brad Pitt and George Clooney, because that's what Gabe and I have been compared to.
The two of you cut a wide swath.
That's right. We did indeed.
Yeah.
But would this be the biggest win for Missouri in our lifetimes?
No.
Because you would always have Kansas 2007? Is that the reason?
Yeah, I mean, and really those late games in 2013, too. I mean, what this is to me, there's no way it's the big... because if things go the way you want them to go, if you win this game, this doesn't end up even being the biggest win of this year, right? Because it doesn't... There's not the next step, right? I mean, this isn't the championship. This isn't the game that puts you in the championship. This keeps you on track for that. Now, beating number one in their place, yes, you can argue that for a single day, it is the biggest win in Missouri football history. But, that Kansas win put you a step away from the national title. All those wins in 2013 after losing to South Carolina allowed you to be right there for the national title. I just don't think a Week 9 game, because if you win this game, it's only the biggest win in school history if you also win the next three. You win this game and come lose to Tennessee, then this is like, yeah, it was great, but it didn't lead to something.
No, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. It's in St. Louis, we have the Albert Pujols home run off of Brad Lidge, but then they lost the next game, and so it doesn't necessarily have the romanticism. And the Royals had that big comeback against the A's, but then they lost to the Giants, right, in the World Series. That was the same year.
Even the David Freese heroics wouldn't have mattered as much as
it had
lost Game 7.
100%. Yeah. You're exactly right. And so I get that, but as far as a single day and a win to stop a 24-game winning streak on the road, what I'm saying is, and I get what you're saying, and but I think as far as the optics for Missouri is still, it's like, like last week, Missouri wasn't even listed as one of the teams with a 1% chance of winning the national championship. I wasn't like, how come Missouri, they're biased? I don't give a damn. They probably forgot. but that's the issue. Missouri is forgotten, and if you go and you beat one of these teams, even when they beat Kansas, yeah, it was Kansas, but because it was Kansas, it didn't necessarily have the equity of beating what would have been a bigger program, even Kansas State, than Kansas. It was fun for Missouri fans, but it was Kansas, so it wasn't necessarily respected in college ball. This is Georgia in the midst of being the two-time defending national champions, between the hedges, on the road, number one in the country, and it's little old Missouri, a 16-point underdog. I think it helps change the optics for the foundation of the program. So that's why
fair.
I think.
I mean, it's on a single day. Yes, you can have that discussion. Is it the biggest win in school history? I'll agree with that. I think ideally, then you go on to win 3 in a row. And what I wrote this morning is, this is the day you look at and say, that's the day I really started to believe, right? Mm-hmm. That's what that's what Georgia was in the 2013 season. The win at Georgia, even though it was Week 5,
right?
That was the day where everybody said, "Hang on, I think this is something more than maybe I thought it was before kickoff." And so that's what you hope Saturday turns into, But obviously, that's all to be determined. I mean, I keep bringing up how Pinkel used to say, that every game's your biggest game if you keep winning. I mean, the next one is always bigger as long as you're winning. So, I think it's the biggest game, period, in 9 years. And you can make the argument that it would be the biggest win in school history.
God bless. Those who win in November will be remembered. Gary Pinkel.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Gabe, does Georgia have an obvious weakness that Sporting Mizzou might try to attack?
No, they do not. I mean, they're like, I ran all the statistical numbers versus last year, because I think most people, and I include myself here, don't think Georgia's as good as it has been the last 2 years.
Georgia fans certainly kind of feel that way. I know that.
Yeah, the numbers are virtually identical to last year. Now, the difference is, last year, those were full season numbers that included 4 games against top 15 teams. The best team Georgia's played this year is Kentucky. So we don't really know yet. Georgia's next 3 games are its toughest 3 games of the year before the SEC title game in the playoff, if they get there. So what they really are is going to be determined over the next 3 weeks. Very, very similar to Missouri. I mean, Missouri fans are really excited and riding high, and I completely understand why. But the reason Missouri is ranked 14th right now, behind pretty much every other one-loss team, is if you look at it, I mean, the best win's Kansas State.
Yeah.
And that's a good win. But it's like you're saying, it's not Georgia. It's not even, to me, Tennessee. So Missouri has done a lot more than most people expected. But I think still certainly there are questions, and I think those questions are fair.
Any other questions before we let the Colonel? James, I feel like you have. James
I always write a few things down.
James
Got a
typed
list
out
over there.
That doesn't go on in this studio.
Well, no, I'm watching Georgia and Florida.
Gabe's still on?
I'm watching Georgia and Florida on Saturday, and I'm thinking to myself, would I be more surprised if Mizzou's offense moved the ball rather easily on Georgia, or if Mizzou's defense got after the Bulldogs on that side of the ball? Which would surprise you more, Gabe? I mean, if Mizzou had a career day on offense or defense?
Yeah, I think Missouri's better chance to win this game is like 27-24 rather than 45-42.
Yeah.
I just don't see the Georgia defense, giving up a complete shootout and losing it. So I guess I would say it would surprise me more if Mizzou's offense was incredible than if Mizzou's defense came out and figured out some answers, and suddenly you're talking about like a 20-17 game or something.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I thought you were to ask a question.
Well, no, I was just wondering what you have an ultimate prediction, or you're out of the prediction business at this point?
I mean, I'll pick Georgia to win the game. I think. I don't know what the score will be. It's not out of the question that Missouri wins, but look, Georgia's a 16-point favorite for a reason, and I'm not sure that number is unfair. Like I said, I think the game is more about what Georgia does than it is about what Missouri does on Saturday. And I would just like to. I feel like we're coming to a close. I would like to say that at the beginning of the call, I did not care at all about Major League Soccer. I now kind of care because it seems pretty apparent to me that Doug cares. He wants to make me care.
Yeah.
So because Doug cares, I'm very glad that Kansas City won that.
Yeah. Otherwise, we would have been talking smack this morning.
What happened?
I swear, I was walking in here this morning, and I'm like, oh yeah, we got Gabe at 9 o'clock, and then I'm like, my guess is Gabe doesn't even know this game existed, which shows the shift in the way things have worked between St. Louis and Kansas City over the last quarter century.
Well, I fell asleep before the game started, also.
Well, had Doug began this interview with had St. Louis won or City or whatever village, whatever their team is called. Had they won, and Doug started this interview with soccer smack, like this interview would have been over.
What's worse for you, soccer smack or Doug asking about the uniforms they wear between the?
Oh yeah, what kind of costumes will they wear?
Both awful. Maybe by next week, Doug comes up with something to talk about, but I don't imagine it.
There it is. The Colonel not on board with Major League Soccer or uniform questions, but you can read his thoughts at powermizzou.com. Doug, welcome to Georgia Week.
Yes, Gabe's going to have a big party weekend down there, I guess.
Right.
Cut a swath down there as he did in Columbia.
That's exactly right. He and James Carlton will be Brad Pitt and George Clooney running things down there. I'm out. Colonel, thank you so much as always.
All right, guys, have a good one.
There it is, the Colonel, Gabriel P. DeArmond of PowerMizzou.com, presented to you by the great James Carlton.
Complete hypothetical for you.
I'm doing hypotheticals this morning. Doug won't.
Carson Beck is the quarterback for LSU. Did they beat Mizzou that day?
Probably not.
No.
I don't think that he's particularly good.
He's not mobile, and that's what gives me a little bit more optimism. Because
we're on the same page.
The defense got after LSU.
They did.
He was just too elusive.
And then he would go. I have no. I watched because I bet Wisconsin on Saturday night, so I watched Ohio State. I actually came away more impressed with Ohio State than I was going into the game. But it's obvious not about their offense. Listen, Marvin Harrison Jr. may wind up being one of the greatest receivers in NFL history for all I know, but to me, Jaden Daniels has a much bigger impact on LSU's success than Marvin Harrison Jr. does on Ohio State.
No question, but they have 2 losses. I mean, that's why they're going to...
I just don't get it. Like Jaden Daniels, to me... I'll have to look what the odds are, but I really think, because I really like LSU's chances in Tuscaloosa this weekend. Yeah. I'm surprised that they were a 6-point, now it's down to 3-point underdog, so people are, I guess, hip to that. The money's hip to it because the money's on LSU. But if they beat Alabama, they're going to the SEC championship game. It's kind of not a sweat.
Yeah, Florida's not going to beat them. So who else?
It's in Baton Rouge.
Okay.
Florida's not beating them in Baton Rouge. No. I mean, I guess and of course anything's possible. You can't say with absolute certainty. And then they play some rando the rest of the way. They're going to the SEC championship game, and they can obviously beat Missouri. We've seen it, and I think they can beat Georgia too. So if they win the SEC championship and he's the quarterback, Jaden Daniels is going to win the Heisman Trophy.
It's plus 400.
Crap! It started to move down.
They're on it.
Have you seen the futures? Is Missouri still plus 30,000?
Missouri to win the national title is still plus 30,000.
All right, because I really got to throw $100 on that, and I realize I'm probably just lighting it on fire. But I mean, for the hell of it, why not? I now get what the guy who is saying, Tim, it'll never happen. He's just a Kansas guy, but God, is he consumed with it?
It'll never happen that Missouri wins the national.
Yeah, I mean,
if it ever does, this is a year.
This is coming after the Jayhawks just beat Oklahoma for the first time in like 25 years.
For Kansas, not only because I bet Kansas, because I really thought Kansas could win that game, but
not anymore. We're not pulling for him now. Not after that comment.
Never happening. Why is the committee so biased on overrated SEC? Is it just money? Let's see. And then he was mad at the Plowhawk for talking about Illinois beating Kansas. KU was just there for the people of Maui. Of course, Kansas always.
The people of Maui.
They played their starter almost the entire game.
This is the kind of guy, because we have some Missouri fans, and I don't know if you would fall into this category. James, are you consumed with hatred for Kansas?
No. I mean, trust me, I root hard. I root hard against them. I went to that Kansas game last year.
I mean, I'm fine with Kansas. I mean, it's just, I kind of don't, but I also realize that I'm in the minority on Missouri fans on that. But there are like some Kansas fans, and it's a really odd, one of the stranger flexes that flex on going to the Orange Bowl the year Missouri knocked them out of the national title picture. And I go, what a straight, you lost to the Missouri team, but you're talking crap to Missouri fans. What an odd thing. And I think this might be one of those guys.
Maybe it's a spike the football that our AD is better and more effective at getting big bowl games than your AD.
Yeah, I mean, the Cardinals hosted the Marlins today in Grapefruit League. It's the same. I just like these bowl games. Like, who gives a damn? When it mattered, Missouri beat them and ended their undefeated season for the national championship. So sorry. And it would have been the other way around. I would have been saying the same thing if you were on the other foot.
Absolutely.
You know I would have, because I am the anti-Missouri fan in some people's minds. James, always wonderful to have you in. Safe travels between the hedges.
Sir. And hopefully by this time next week, KG's picking out his tattoo artist for that big tattoo he's got to get if Mizzou beats Georgia.
Oh, wow.
Did you guys see that he put that on the fan page?
He's getting a tat on his leg.
Mm-hmm. Go Tigers.
Fight Tiger. There it is. Man, it's just like, that was just like Ed Orgeron right there.
Right.
Go Tigers.
Well, Eli now says MIZ after every.
He does. Yeah, like Ed Orgeron set the standard for the whole thing. There it is.
Go Tigers.
James Carlson. I'm glad. I felt like I wasn't breaking through to the Colonel, but he acknowledged. I mean, wouldn't you agree? I mean, you've obviously you saw when Missouri used to play in September. They'd play USC when they were in the Big 8, Alabama.
Oh yeah.
Penn State, Notre Dame, Ohio State. On my 21st birthday, actually, Missouri hosted Ohio State. Andy Katzenmoyer on Corby Jones. Look up that hit on YouTube. Holy crap. And that was my 21st birthday, 1997. But as far as a win goes in the day, in the moment, I don't know how this wouldn't be. I don't know how something would be bigger, at least since the 1980s. Do you agree with me on that? Or do you see?
I guess. I don't have a remembrance for all these dates and games like you.
Well, you remember the Kansas game in 07.
Sure, yeah.
And that certainly was exciting, but I mean, that was, if you followed college football, you knew Kansas wasn't as good as Missouri that year. And that's not because I went to Missouri. I don't give a damn. I just kind of call it how I see it. Like, Georgia's better than Missouri. I acknowledge that. But of course, things can happen. But I wasn't like, holy crap, Missouri beat Kansas. The country will pay attention to Missouri football if they win at Athens and are an 8-1 team that shoots into the top 10 without question. It's just a matter of where. And all of a sudden going, holy crap. Now, what will also happen that will infuriate Missouri fans is, what will the talk be? The SEC is down. The SEC is down. That's what would have happened had Missouri beat LSU.
Or why did they schedule homecoming for the LSU game?
Exactly right. Brian Kelly. But, and listen, the thing about the SEC being down this year, it's a fair conversation when you look at the non-conference. The best non-conference win date, I think, is Missouri over K-State, and that required a 61-yard field goal. Maybe it's Ole Miss Tulane, but that tells you a lot. Because the SEC lost to a bunch of conferences, including Texas winning at Tuscaloosa.
Well, there were several years there where Alabama was just so good.
Yes, and LSU was one of the best teams ever with Burrow and Chase.
And people just kind
Jefferson.
of assume that the national championship went through Alabama, and so therefore the SEC must be the toughest conference.
And now recently Georgia, and then LSU in 2019, which I still think might have been the best team ever. It just was one brief moment, and then it went away. So I'm not sure. All I know is I haven't seen Missouri at their high in 3 straight games in my lifetime like I've seen with the first half against LSU, first quarter against LSU, the final 3 quarters against Kentucky, and the first half against South Carolina. The strange thing about it is they also in the same games have in terrible quarters. The third quarter against LSU was really bad. The first quarter against Kentucky, I think, was the worst. And the second half against South Carolina, that kind of has an asterisk just because I think they were just trying to get through that thing and shut it down. I think they knew Burden was a little off with his shoulder and just wanted to get the hell out of there with a win, and they were up 24-0. No need to really be intense with it. But and they knew South Carolina couldn't do anything offensively. So you've seen this team in the last 3 games play some of the best I've seen and then some of the worst. You can't afford to do that against this team on the road. But if they can play like they did for a time against LSU, Kentucky, and South Carolina, I think they can play with anybody. But because it's Missouri, and then if you want to individualize it to me, because I went to Missouri, it's like, oh, you're biased and you're a homer. And, I just tell you what I think. I mean, I put my money on it this year. I took the win total of 6.5, and that wasn't a homer. I don't put my money on crap because I'm from here or went to school there. I just tell you what I think. And I think that they actually can do it. And I think as James asked, which was a great question, if Beck's the quarterback of LSU, does LSU win that game? Absolutely not. It's not a shot at him. It's a compliment to Jaden Daniels. That's how good Jaden Daniels is. But at the same time, if the LSU with offense with Jaden Daniels had Georgia's defense, Missouri probably loses that game by 3 touchdowns. You know what I mean? So you got to consider the push and the pull of the whole thing.
So these people that don't like your opinion, what would you suggest they do to you?
Well, I have a hole.
Yeah, I thought it involved your dirt star.
And I welcome you to whatever angle you want.
No.
And then, Doug, watch this little tongue.
What? Oh, don't do that. Don't do that. Oh, it was like a little lizard. Oh, I'm sorry I brought it up now. Very sorry.
Let's see what we win. Oh, how about this? Stephen Wildwood's got a plan. If we win Saturday, I am going over to St. Louis U High and tearing down the goalposts and throwing them in our pool here. Take that, Wingo. That's from Stephen Wildwood. So he's going over to Oakland Avenue and tearing down the goalposts at St. Louis U High.
I'm sure Kansas will be fined a couple $100,000 for doing that. But, that was a moment that all those kids that were there will remember for the rest of their lives.
Absolutely. I got no problem with that at all. It was a great win.
Mm-hmm. You should tear down the goalpost after a win like that.
What is the most surprising win of college football, the Power 5 anyway, this year?
I would say that one.
I'll go with the Miami-Georgia Tech game.
That Georgia Tech beat Miami? Or the way that it went?
The way that it went down.
The way that it went, yes.
Finish, yeah.
The way that it went, I would say actually Virginia, North Carolina, but now North Carolina lost to Georgia Tech on Saturday night.
Yeah, boy.
So that thing, that's a death spiral. It would have been Arizona State, Washington. Could have been Stanford, Washington. Yeah, I think you'd probably make a case for Kansas against Oklahoma. But they were only a 7-point underdog.
Yep.
That's
yeah,
the
they're
thing.
better than they
I mean, Washington was a 4-touchdown favorite against Arizona State. It just happened at 12:30 in the morning, St. Louis time, so half the country wasn't even aware of it.
Kansas is a perfect example in college sports. It's just all about the coach. If you have a good one, like the guy they got now, or Mangino there for a few years, you can take even a program that's been at the depths for decades and get them to the top or near the top.
Leopold's going to get poached.
Oh, sure.
Someone's going to grab him.
Yeah.
I don't know. Looks like he likes building something there. I don't know.
Yeah, but the resources you can get at other schools, bigger name schools, are so much better. And
but where would he go? I'm not
Michigan,
someone that's going to double his salary.
Michigan State.
I ain't touching Michigan State with a 500-foot
Don't
pole,
say
bro.
I ain't.
No
I think
way.
that's what the Plowhawk means, though. I think he means it.
That's going to be a nightmare. The Mel Tucker thing ain't even close to over. You don't know what kind of sanctions are going to be brought on. The players are going to be exiting stage left faster than ever. I mean, you would have to have patience like a Kansas there right now.
Well, that was just an example.
No, I get it. I just
Arkansas's
don't know.
job might be
Arkansas is a
open.
good job.
Florida?
I don't think Florida's
They
done
got
with
probably
Napier
a couple
yet.
more years in Napier.
I don't know that they're real happy about where they are right now.
Probably not.
Nobody in the SEC is ever happy.
Not necessarily, but they get unhappy really quickly, is what I would say.
That's more accurate.
I think Jimbo Fisher, if he would have lost to South Carolina, they would have been on buyout patrol today. And I think if Billy Napier loses to Arkansas this weekend, you will hear the rumblings because they still have LSU, they still have Florida State, and they still have Missouri. So this is a good chance the last game that they win. And if he loses to Arkansas, which I think is possible, by the way, you could see him being the guy. Because right now, people are assuming it's Sam Pittman. If you're taking your SEC head coach death pool, Pittman, Jimbo Fisher, Napier, you got a weird situation at Mississippi State because the head coach there replaced Mike Leach after he passed. So it's not like he was a big search committee hire. So it's a little different situation there.
I think Arkansas does a good job. They got a lot of resources. They got Jerry Jones money.
Jerry Jones money.
I'm sure he's a big booster.
Florida's one of the premier places in America to coach.
Probably unbelievable campus, probably unbelievable resources.
You probably got a couple hundred 4- and 5-star recruits every year just in the state of Florida playing. You got as big a budget as there is anywhere. I saw recently he was ranked the #1 public university in America.
It's got it all.
Yeah,
it's got the weather.
Really
it's a quality school.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Got the alumni with some cash. I know Jackson hates the Beakers, but any reason you can give to leave Kansas can be said for Mizzou. That's from Arbor Day. I don't follow that. I'm sorry.
I'll disagree just based upon the fact that Missouri plays in the SEC. That alone is a reason why you would stay at Missouri over similar. I understand what you're saying, but
I thought you were talking about just as a resident. You're talking about as a coach.
Coach, yeah. I think an SEC job automatically trumps a Big 12 and a Kansas job. I mean, I don't mean to, because I know the weather was bad and it was crappy, but the student section was half full. That you just don't get the reception at Kansas for football that you will with basketball. You never will. It's a blue blood founder of the sport of basketball. It's just not a football school. I don't think it's crazy to say that. Now, I know Mizzou's been stuck in mediocrity for the better part of 2 decades, but you're seeing some rumblings now, programs in the right direction, and again, they're in the SEC. It's just different.
My problem with the coaches, one bad move, it doesn't matter if it's your coaching style. If you have a couple bad years at a better program when you left, you're hardly ever getting another big-time job. You have to crawl your way to that. So, Leopold's in a great spot. If he bombs out in Arkansas, he's not getting a Kansas job again.
I get what you're saying. You're right. You're very astute on that, Plow. Like Matt Campbell was the darling. You got to seize it. Now he's getting yelled at by a fan walking off the practice field up in the hot seat.
The yelling.
Yes, he is. For those who've seen that video, that's why Luke Fickell, he had it going at Cincinnati. You got to seize the moment and go. As much as it sucks, I respect the hell out of what Pinkel did, but that's a 1 in 50 kind of situation there, where a guy gets a chance to talk to Michigan and he's at Missouri and he passes on it. That's super rare. People were wondering where, quote, Papa Turtleneck is. He has returned. Herb's Hog wanted to know.
I didn't see James leave.
He left quite some time ago.
And I heard you still talking Mizzou from outside the hallway, so I guess he's still in there.
Okay.
That's bull ass! It was sold out! That's from Todd Reesing.
I want to say, I know that the game was a lot more full before the weather delay, but your biggest win probably in program history, maybe certainly the last 2 decades, the student section, I saw a picture. It was not full. The stadium was not full.
Yeah,
you can't convince me otherwise. My eyes work.
There was some empty seats.
Do you want to invite Todd Reesing to be the undercard on Dave Doring and Steve Smith?
I hate when people only hear what they want to hear. Like I said,
let him have it.
Shot at the world.
I know, but before I said I understand it was pretty full before the game went to weather delay, but afterwards it was not.
No, it wasn't.
Tom with Jackson. I said to a friend of mine, we were talking about the game.
You watched the game with somebody?
Yeah. No, we were afterwards. We were talking about something else.
Was this in the AOL chat room in that bi female?
No, just a friend. We were talking, and we brought up watching football on Saturday. I said that K-State, the KU game was great, and I said to him, I'm surprised they had enough people in that stadium to carry enough KU fans in that stadium to carry the goalpost down.
Todd Reesing's coming for you next.
Yeah.
So I'm with Jackson.
How many does it take to carry a goalpost?
There were a lot of Oklahoma fans there.
I bet 6 people could carry a goalpost out.
To get them down.
To get them down probably takes 20.
In Raby,
I was being facetious, but I
know.
That was a shot at not a lot of KU fans still there.
I think Raby brought up a great point with Bielema, but Illinois is so bad. Illinois is 20 times below Kansas.
Bielema's a real interesting case study on college football head coaching. To leave Madison to go to Fayetteville, and then he gets whacked on the field at Fayetteville, another coach that Missouri got fired, and then gets the Champaign job.
We are desperate for any name brand to try to at least entice. Illinois might be in one of the worst positions in any college program.
Because of the caliber of offense in the Big Ten West?
Just that, and just like, why would you go there? I love Champaign to death, man, but like,
still trying to replace Ron Zook.
Yeah, you can't.
Great recruiter.
You can't go there and think you're going to have any sort of real success, and that's a bummer.
I just realized it's 9:51, and there is some bad hosting going on here. Illinois Recovery Center is the new premier inpatient substance abuse facility in Swansea, Illinois. When it comes to the disease of addiction, getting help should not be as difficult as it currently is. The Illinois Recovery Center's mission is to be the receiving hand in the community. When someone seeks help, the IRC delivers a comprehensive system of care that welcomes both the individual struggling and family alike. If you or someone you know wants to learn about the Illinois Recovery Center, please call 888-472-9559 or email info@illinoisrecoverycenter.com. Longo Biggs is a sponsor of TMA. CD Longo and Doug Biggs of the Longo Biggs Injury Law Firm will take all the complication and hassle out of your injury claim. They were at the Dotem, and they have provided Doug and I with wonderful Holderness and Bourne shirts. That's right. Oh, yeah, they got one for you, too.
I wore one out of Algonquin to make myself not look poor, and it worked.
And it's got the little TMA logo on it. CD and Doug are trial lawyers, meaning they won't settle if there is an obstacle or complication in your case. In fact, most cases have them, and Doug and CD will overcome those obstacles and take your case all the way to trial if necessary. In injury cases, there are going to be a lot of money on the line, and that's where CD and Doug specialize. They are St. Louisans. I have gotten to know them. One's a wonderful ball striker, Doug.
Oh,
that's not to say the other isn't.
Really?
It's not to say the other isn't.
Sound like a shot at the other fellow.
But I'm just saying one.
Okay.
Is wonderful, and you'll just have to guess which one it is. Longo Biggs Injury Law accepts personal injury, wrongful death, brain injury, and other catastrophic injury cases. LongoBiggs.com. Remember, the choice of an attorney is an important decision and should not be based solely on adverts. And Doug, you studied quantum physics at Kirkwood. Craig Betts?
I did, yeah. It just, that kind of subject matter was very early in my education. 3rd or 4th grade, if I remember right.
You were in 3rd grade for that.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Craig Betts and his son David are at Glenn Betts Jewelers, 3rd and 4th generation of the Betts family. It goes back to 1941. Glenn Betts Jewelers in business in St. Louis since 1941. Glenn Betts' difference is you are served personally, not sold. They get to know your likes, your lifestyle, and who and what you love. The 3 L's. It's GlennBettsJewelers.com, located 1 mile east of 270 on Manchester in De Pere. This is the time of year where a number of gentlemen in their 20s and 30s start going, you know what? Maybe it's time to settle down. Maybe she's the one, Doug.
Mm-hmm,
well, if that's the case and you're going engagement ring shopping, go to Glenn Betts Jewelers, located 1 mile east of 270 on Manchester in De Pere. It's GlennBettsJewelers.com. And think about it.
Okay, I'll think about that for a while.
A balloon party coming up here in a matter of moments. Jackson, you want to tell the people what's coming up?
Sure. Will Pill's weekend wrap up.
Woot!
And then
Woot! Take that, Doug. We got something coming.
And then we'll have Jeremy Rutherford on at 10:45 to talk about the Blues, Canucks, and upcoming matchup on Wednesday with the Blues and Avalanche.
Oh, okay.
How do you do?
That sounds like a heck of a program.
Yeah, look at that. It's not a thoroughfare Thursday.
Nope.
Well, weekend wrap-up, that still leaves things pretty wide open, I guess.
What's the first question on the weekend wrap-up?
Dogs.
You're going doggies.
In St. Louis, that's the biggest story right now.
Yeah.
But what about for the 101 audience?
Well, I mean, we're going to talk about a Blues game that happened 2 nights ago where they lost 5-0 over a playoff game.
It's the radio station is the home of the Blues.
But it doesn't change the lead.
No, it can. Boy, it can.
Doug's got a personal story that'll leave off air for his theory as to what's going on that has nothing to do with this particular operation. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the Design Air Heating and Cooling email of the day. Buck Swope with a 1-goal lead. He can clinch the month of October with a win today. But the JV golf coach does control his own destiny. If he wins the final 2, he wins the month. And Young, Plawsy's takes are funny because they're misinformed and usually aren't inherently bad takes at the core, but then there's pot roast. Oh, pot roast. His are the deranged ramblings of an uncut has-been. Quote, I know you guys are talking soccer, but the real story everyone is actually talking about is Matthew Block at some event down under. I didn't say it. Scott Hand did. Turka, unquote. Jesus. That's from number one Asian intern Brian Henson, a.k.a. ASMR Ting Ting 2.0, a shadow title sponsor of TMA. We have shadow title sponsor?
Brian Henson, shadow sponsor.
It's Michael Block. You should know that it can cover sports.
You still think that's the big story of the weekend?
It wasn't the big story. I just brought it up.
Okay.
Let's see what we got. Jackson, have you read all of these?
Yeah.
100% sure.
I mean, pretty confident in the ones I have.
They vile.
Let's just be safe on that one. Now we're confident.
All right,
okay. You just deleted something.
Well, it's just better be safe than sorry.
Okay.
Oh, you did delete. He did, Doug. That was a good read on your part. He did delete. That was a seasoned veteran move. Maybe you can read it now, and then if it's all right, send it back into the filtered file. Sadie Hawkins, Doug. The Doggies lost 4-1 to Sporting Kansas City. The Blues lost 5-0 to the Canucks. The Billions series finale landed the plane. No spoilers. The guy on the fan page who recorded Iggy's Hall of Fame speech did not appreciate Iggy firing multiple shots at him for being there, when in fact he cleared it with Iggy in advance. What in the hell is that?
I don't know.
Iggy, you're back on the fan page?
No.
Okay. The guy on the fan page who recorded Iggy's Hall of Fame speech did not appreciate Iggy firing multiple shots at him for being there, when in fact he cleared it with Iggy in advance.
How'd you fire shots at him?
That's what I thought.
Wasn't he there for another bowler? Like, he was there. People were... should be able to go there.
I don't remember saying, yeah, go ahead. I think he said something about he's going to film it, but I didn't say, who are you, or whatever. I don't care. He could have. I don't know. A lot of things happened that night. I don't remember.
Wow.
Right?
What else happened at this bowling
In the green room, I bet you things were popping.
I really wasn't paying attention.
So you mad that he recorded your speech?
No. I just said I didn't remember anybody recording it, how it got on the fan page.
But you're not mad that it is?
No, I can...
So why'd you take these shots at him?
I didn't take any shots
I was about to say, you're on the fan page taking shots at me.
These listeners just make things like they want it to be true.
I could be misreading. I'm sorry. I want that on the record, especially when it comes from Buck Swope. And Doug, you know I'm a Buck Swope.
No, I remember a guy coming up to me and saying that I blocked him because he was friends with Dave Jackson when that whole Dave Jackson thing was going on. He goes, I said, dude, we're all good. You already apologized to me to TMA. We're all good. He goes, okay. He says, I'm going to record this tonight. I said, go ahead. I don't care. I didn't know what was going on the fan page.
But then you took shots at him.
I can't believe you took so many shots.
Right there on the fan page that you're not on.
But I think the lead is Australian golfer Scott Henn's tweet disapproving of Michael Block's
It wasn't
sponsor.
even close to being true. We talked about the other things first.
To the Australian Open. Ours is the type of presentation where the board op feels free to drop in at any following a miserable playoff loss to reveal he wasn't familiar with the playoff format and thought our team was already eliminated.
Yeah.
Yikes.
I did. I got excited for no reason.
The last time I saw a St. Louis team lose their playoff opener in brutal fashion following a great regular season, they went out with a whimper in the following game and went down a death spiral from which they have yet to recover. All is not lost, though, because I'm being told we actually didn't play that badly in the first half, during which we surrendered 3 goals and scored 1, and this loss will help us in November. Nice of Gabe to pop in to offer his absolute indifference toward the MLS playoffs as if it was a neighborhood pickleball tournament when he said, there's not many sporting events that would cause me to gloat less, before offering a new entry on the Mount Rushmore of Gabe drops, quote, we're kind of having a meaningless discussion here. Joining the likes of it's quite obvious at this point that someone is being lied to. You guys still there, and this is brutal. Thanks. That's from Buck Swope. And Doug, that's what we have for the Design, Air, Heating, and Cooling email today. I guess JV Golf Coach did not get back into the filtered file.
Probably would have been fine. Better be safe than sorry.
Wow.
Like
So
that.
Buck Swope is in control of his own destiny now. JV Golf Coach has to hope that we go with Brian Henson, and then he wins tomorrow, and then it forces a 1-game playoff on Wednesday, Doug.
Okay. Well, I'll try to push it to tomorrow. I'll vote for Brian Henson, shadow sponsor.
See, I would do that, but then I'd be going against what I thought was the best email. So I got to say Swope.
Buck Swope is shit. Not only the Design, Air, Heating, and Cooling email of the day, but also the Design, Air, Heating, and Cooling email of the month. Congratulations to Buck Swope, and congratulations to Jackson, because now you're about to go down the hallway and do Balloon Party. Switch over to YouTube to 101 ESPN. You can talk it over with Tiny PP for the Plowhawk, for Action Jackson, for Kenneth Iggy Strode, for my brother Kevin, for Douglas Sullivan Vaughn. I'm Tim McKernan. This has been TMA, presented to you by Brown and Krupin from the Michelob Ultra Studios.
The Tim McKernan Show podcast, featuring long-form interviews